I accidentally bought Zhou Jiayan's empathic doll then, without a second thought, I gave it to the guard dog as a toy because in my past life, Zhou Jiayan came to my house blushing, demanding to marry whoever possessed the empathic doll. He declared that no matter who it was, he would marry her and no one else. Obsessed with the Zhou family's wealth, my uncle immediately pushed me forward. Little did I know, the person Zhou Jiayan intended to marry wasn't me, but my cousin. That empathy doll was intentionally left for my cousin, but I mistakenly bought it. Thus, unaware of the truth, I endured his emotional abuse for 10 years. I watched helplessly as he cheated with my cousin and even fathered a child out of wedlock. After being reborn, I watched the big black dog relentlessly maul the empathy doll and couldn't help but laugh. My uncle, holding a photo of the empathy doll, kept rummaging through the room I shared with Ji Xinyue. In the end, we found nothing. Ji Xiyu, be honest with your uncle. You buy dolls all the time. Have you ever seen this one? I stared at the photo. Inside was a pink rabbit. I just brought it back this morning. I shook my head. No, I haven't. Why don't you ask Xinyue? Ji Xinyue looked annoyed. Dad, would you give it a rest? It's just a stupid doll. If it's lost, then it's lost. I'm going out to play. Ji Xinyue stood up and left without a second glance, not caring about anyone's reaction. Uncle let out a helpless sigh. This child is just too disobedient. I feigned curiosity and asked, Uncle, what happened? Why are you so desperate to find this doll? Uncle sighed again. You know the family business is in trouble, right? Well, that young master from the Zhou family suddenly showed up. He insists on marrying whoever has his empathy doll, and he says he won't marry anyone else, no matter who it is. If only that empathy doll were really in your hands, our family's company would be saved. I laughed. He really said that? What if the one who gets his empathy doll isn't even human? Uncle said matter-of-factly, just send it over. He never specified who it had to be. Uncle is a classic opportunist. Whoever can give him a benefit, he'd be willing to call them father. In the previous life, if the empathy doll had truly fallen into Ji Xinyue's hands, he would have unhesitatingly pushed his own daughter into an arranged marriage. I walked into the backyard and saw Dahei tearing at the pink rabbit. Dahei seemed to really like the toy, licking and biting it incessantly. The fur on the pink rabbit was licked into a sticky, matted mess. When it saw me, its ears immediately perked up. I crouched down, patted Dahei's head, and said with a smile, I'm really going to miss you when you get married. Dahei's eyes darted around, not understanding what I meant. It affectionately rubbed its big head against my calf. Ah, never mind. It's better not to get married. Zhou Jiayan isn't worthy. Zhou Jiayan ultimately didn't make it through the night. He was supported by his good friend Jiang Zhishuan. As they arrived at the Ji family home sitting on the sofa, I feigned ignorance and asked, Who are you? Is there something you need at my place? Zhou Jiayan's eyes were red. He saw me and was about to speak when he suddenly let out a stifled, pained groan. I reacted with exaggerated concern. Are you sick? Should I call a doctor? I quickly got up to head upstairs, but Zhou Jiayan stopped me. Ji Xiyu, stop right there. I turned to look at him. How do you know who I am? Zhou Jiayan struggled against the strange sensation in his body. Why didn't you tell your uncle that the empathic doll is with you? I feigned ignorance. No, it's not. Uncle searched everywhere today and couldn't find the empathic doll. Maybe you remembered wrong. Zhou Jiayan's voice was icy. Impossible. Hand over the doll now, or I won't be held responsible for what happens next. 2. The uncle came jogging over at the sound. Seeing Zhou Jiayan's flushed face, he hurriedly asked, Young Master Zhou, what's wrong? Should I call a doctor? Zhou Jiayan was thoroughly exasperated. I don't need one. What I need is for that woman, Ji Xiyu, to return what doesn't belong to her. Now I'm absolutely certain, Zhou Jiayan has been reborn too. This never happened in my past life. My uncle turned to look at me and demanded, Xiyu, this is no joking matter. If you really have it, you'd better hand it over now. Then he added in a hushed tone, marrying into the Zhou family as the young mistress, it's not a bad deal for you. After your parents passed away, your uncle raised you all these years. Even if it wasn't a great achievement, it was still hard work and dedication. I raised my voice. Uncle, I really don't have that doll. I have no reason to lie to you. A flicker of disappointment shone in Uncle's eyes. As the most well-behaved child in the Ji family, he still believed I wouldn't play such tricks and let go of such a brilliant opportunity to marry into a wealthy family. Zhou Jiayan tried to speak, but he suddenly let out a sharp cry, dropped to his knees, and clutched his groin. His eyes welled up with tears, his breathing grew ragged, and his chest heaved violently. Jiang Zhishuan quickly steadied him. Zhou Jiayan, maybe we should go to the hospital first. I'm not going. Zhou Jiayan shouted hoarsely. He stared straight at me. That doll must be with you. What did you do to it? Give it to my big black as a toy. Zhou Jiayan, reduced to such a sorry state, probably never imagined that what gave him such a thrill wasn't a person, But a dog, no, I really didn't. I was so anxious I was about to cry. Zhou Jiayan was absolutely furious. You're lying. Hand it over right now. I looked pleadingly at Jiang Zhishuan. Zhishuan, I really didn't. Zhou Jiayan turned to look at Jiang Zhishuan, his focus oddly misplaced. You two know each other. Jiang Zhishuan paused for a moment, glancing at me. Jiayan, don't overthink it. The priority right now is to get the doll back. We can't just let this situation drag on. It was already severely disrupting Zhou Jiayan's life. Little Jiayan was standing at attention all the time. Zhou Jiayan let out another pained whimper. Ah, it hurts. An awkward silence hung in the living room. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Zhou Jiayan, of all people, had finally gotten his comeuppance the day you willingly handed over your lifeline. You should have foreseen this humiliating downfall, Dad. I'm home. I'm starving. I heard Ji Xinyue's voice from a distance. Looking up, I saw her dressed to the nines, her personal style unmistakably bold and unique. Her eyes immediately found Zhou Jiayan crouched on the ground. Who is this? What is he doing in our house? I said with a smile. Sister, this is the young master of the Zhou family. The very suitor uncle mentioned would come to propose today. Just as I expected, I saw a flicker of delight in Ji Xinyue's eyes. Zhou Jiayan struggled to his feet, a noticeable bulge in his trousers. Jiang Zhishuan kindly used his jacket to cover it for him. He still wanted to maintain his image in front of Ji Xinyue. Uncle Ji, I'll come again tomorrow. As he said this, he shot me a fierce glare. A flicker of unease crossed my face, and my eyes instinctively sought out Jiang Zhishuan. Jiang Zhishuan responded with a smile directed at me. After the others had left, Ji Xinyue pretended to be curious and relentlessly pestered my uncle with questions in our past life. She resented nothing more than my marrying into a better family than hers, going so far as to become the other woman. It nearly gave my uncle a heart attack. Although my uncle only has his own interests at heart, he values his reputation above all else. He fears public criticism the most, which is why he's been relatively decent to me. My daily food, clothing, and expenses were exactly the same as Ji Xinyue's. In this life, I might as well just let them have what they want. I believe they will truly love each other. I went to the backyard and placed the dog food in front of Dahe. I glanced at the battered, black and pink rabbit and laughed out loud. Good boy, Dahe, you're getting an extra chicken leg today. I sincerely hope Zhou Jiayan lives a life of comfort and ease forever. Only someone as magnanimous as me could offer such a wonderful blessing. Soon, Big Black wolfed down a whole bowl of dog food with gusto. I took one last look at the utterly filthy rabbit and left the place with a smile. 3. I received a call from an unknown number before I even made it back to my room. I'm not sure what came over me, but I answered it. Ji Xiyu, we need to talk. That's Jiang Zhishuan's voice. What gives you the right to talk to me? Jiang Zhishuan said flatly. You know who I am, right? Yeah, and that doll shop is owned by my family. You were the one who bought that rabbit, and I had the security footage to prove it. My eyes crinkled with a smile. I did buy the rabbit. So what? Why did you lie today? I feigned fear. I was just scared. That's all. I don't want my uncle to marry me off to Zhou Jiayan. Jiang Zhishuan paused. Give the rabbit back, and I won't let you marry him, whether in his past life or now. Jiang Zhishuan's moral compass is frighteningly upright. He is one of the few people willing to help me. So today, when I was bombarded with questions, I instinctively turned to him out of habit. I don't want to give it. I've already given the rabbit away. Jiang Zhishuan whispered. This rabbit is very important to Zhou Jiayan. He can't even function normally anymore. More like he's having too much fun to function normally. No way. If my uncle finds out, I'll be in deep trouble. Jiang Zhishuan took a deep breath. I can help the Ji family. I pretended not to believe him. Why should I trust you? Let's meet up tomorrow to talk. I laughed. Sure. With that, I hung up the phone. I really wanted to tease this honest guy and see just how far he'd go for his good buddy. The next day, I made a point of arriving exactly on time. Jiang Zhishuan patiently handed me the menu. See if there's anything else you'd like to order. I pressed the menu button and got straight to the point. Tell me, how exactly are you going to help the Ji family? Jiang Zhishuan placed a black card directly on the table. The implication was crystal clear. So what if you have money? I ordered in silence. Zhou Jiayan has a strange illness. He's developed an empathetic connection with a doll. For the sake of his health, you should return it as soon as possible. Jiang Zhishuan's tone was very serious. I said with a laugh. He deliberately left the doll in your shop himself. What does that tell you? It means he's a pervert who wants people to toy with him. Jiang Zhishuan was speechless. It was true that Zhou Jiayan had left it on purpose. He saw it on the surveillance footage. He couldn't figure out why Zhou Jiayan would do that either. Don't make decisions for Zhou Jiayan. He might not even want the doll back. Jiang Zhishuan instinctively defended himself. It's not what you think. After all, it's his property. Stop making excuses. Did you two team up to put on a show on purpose? You guys are really playing some wild games. Jiang Jishuan's expression cracked. He hadn't done anything, so how did he get such a serious accusation pinned on him? I stared straight at him. Do you want to be toyed with like him too? Don't tell me you also have an empathy doll. Jiang Jishuan's ears instantly flushed bright red, and he snapped back, almost in shameful anger. I don't. My smile widened. If you say so, I'll believe you. If you're really that eager to be toyed with, I can oblige. Just drop this whole Zhou Jiayan business. Alright. As I said this, I stood up and quickly pinched his chest. It was precisely his grandfather's wife. Jiang Jishuan's face flushed completely crimson, his eyes brimming with disillusionment towards the world. For Jiang Jishuan's breathing grew ragged as he instinctively leaned back, trying to put distance between us. I blinked. What's wrong? Did you and Zhou Jiayan both get a real kick out of it? My bold words made Jiang Jishuan blush, his long eyelashes fluttering slightly. He lowered his voice and said, "We're in a public place, don't talk like that." Why? Feeling guilty for the first time, Jiang Jishuan tasted this sense of helplessness. He barely touched his food, too busy blushing the whole meal. After the meal, I picked up my bag to leave. Jiang Jishuan quickly stood up. "Jishuyu, you still haven't answered me." I feigned ignorance. Answered what? Give his things back. I laughed. I bought it myself. I can do whatever I want with it. You have no right to make me give it back. How much? I lowered my gaze to the black card on the table, my tone flat. First, help me settle things with the Ji family. Jiang Jishuan's thin lips pressed together. His plan had failed before it even began. This was the first time he'd taken such a significant loss on a deal. We haven't achieved our goal yet, and we're already losing money. In the evening, my uncle said to me cheerfully, "The Jiang family has suddenly taken a great interest in the Ji family and wants to provide financing for the Ji group." I raised an eyebrow and smiled without saying a word. Financing? Doesn't that mean the Ji family's say in the company will be practically zero? I really don't see what uncle has to be so happy about, but if he wants to cozy up to that powerful figure, so be it. At least it secures the Ji family's wealth and status. Ji Xingyue had been looking down at her phone when she suddenly let out a shriek. Uncle and I both looked over at her. She tossed out a single sentence. "Something's come up. I have to go out." Uncle frowned and said, "It's so late. Where are you going?" "Mind your own business. I've got things to do." Ji Xingyue rushed out in a hurry. Uncle sighed. That child is getting more and more disobedient. I chuckled. She's at that age where all she wants to do is play. You weren't like this before. Uncle muttered offhandedly. Had I known, I would have remarried. Someone could have taught her better. All these years, ever since his wife passed away, Uncle had never remarried. There are only 3 of us left in the Ji family now. I had just finished washing up when Jiang Jishuan suddenly sent me a message. "Can you come to the hospital, or tell your friend to stop touching that doll?" I immediately realized something had happened to Zhou Jiayan. Before heading to the hospital, I made a special trip to the backyard, where Dahe was licking the rabbit whose original color was no longer discernible. Did Zhou Jiayan just get his ego stroked? I didn't waste any more time and drove straight to the hospital. Jiang Jishuan was sitting on a bench outside. When he saw me, he immediately got up and came over. "Where is Zhou Jiayan right now?" Jiang Jishuan averted his gaze. "Just wait a moment," I said meaningfully. "Why? Did you do something you're ashamed of?" Jiang Jishuan's expression was tense. He clearly couldn't hide anything. I turned my head towards the adjacent ward and was about to step inside when Jiang Jishuan abruptly stopped me. "Wait a moment." I looked up, meeting his gaze. "Is someone else in there?" "Then why did you call me here?" Jiang Jishuan took a deep breath. "I didn't expect." Before the words were even out of my mouth, I swiftly pushed the door open. To my shock, I saw Ji Xingyue inside, entangled with Zhou Jiayan in an intimate act, perhaps too engrossed in each other. They didn't notice me standing in the doorway. Jiang Jishuan grabbed my wrist and yanked me out of the room. Then, the door was swiftly shut. Jiang Jishuan looked a bit awkward. "You, don't overthink it. He keeps calling your name, so I thought he wanted to see you." Watching Jiang Jishuan fumble through his explanation, a smile welled up in my eyes. I rose on my tiptoes, lifted my head, and planted a kiss on his lips. "I thought you were the one who wanted to see me." Jiang Jishuan's pupils dilated in shock. He stumbled backward as if struck by a devastating blow. I approached with a smile. "What's the matter? Why so worked up?" Jiang Jishuan's shock gave way to fear. "No, stay back. Don't come any closer." I'm speechless. Has this guy never interacted with a woman before? 5. It took Jiang Jishuan a long time to finally calm down. He tried to act calm, but the tips of his ears flushed red, betraying his true feelings. "Jishuyu, you mustn't do anything so outrageous again." I raised an eyebrow, teasing her relentlessly. "I thought you liked me." "Impossible. How could I possibly like you?" Jiang Jishuan reacted strongly, doing everything he could to distance himself. Just then, the hospital room door was suddenly pushed open. Ji Xingyue stood there, her cheeks flushed, She seemed very surprised to see me. Sis, what are you doing here? Her eyes instinctively betrayed a flicker of nervousness, mixed with a hint of smugness. I kept my composure. Here to pick up the medicine. Or are you visiting a friend? Ji Xinyue's tone carried a hint of boasting. Yes. Young Master Zhou isn't feeling well. He insisted I come. Oh, okay. Jiang Jixuan and I have other matters to attend to. If there's anything you need help with, just say the word. Ji Xinyue replied with a sarcastic tone. What could you possibly help with? Yeah, right. There's not much we can do. I dragged Jiang Jixuan along, and he followed me with a completely bewildered look on his face. After leaving the hospital, I remained silent the whole time. Jiang Jixuan whispered, "Don't be angry." I looked at him, surprised. Why would I be angry? No one would be happy to see their sister with another man like that. She went willingly. What can I say? Adults should face the consequences of their own actions and choices. I just hope Ji Xinyue doesn't come to regret it. Jiang Jixuan pressed his advantage. So, can I have the rabbit back? I spread my hands. I gave the rabbit away a long time ago. I really don't have it. Jiang Jixuan's expression shifted slightly. It was impossible to tell if he believed me or not. What will it take for you to give it back? It seemed he didn't believe me. I patted Jiang Jixuan on the shoulder and let out a heavy sigh. Then I started walking forward. Jiang Jixuan was baffled. Hey, what do you mean by that? I couldn't be bothered to guess what Jiang Jixuan was thinking and drove straight home. Before bed, I went to the backyard. Big Black was sleeping while holding the rabbit. I chuckled and said, I'll give you an extra treat tomorrow. I just don't want Zhou Jiayan to have it easy, after all the suffering I endured for so many years in my past life. Why should it all just be wiped clean? I believe Zhou Jiayan and Ji Xinyue would have fallen for each other even without the empathy doll. The next day, I was woken up by the sound of an argument. My uncle pointed a finger right at Ji Xinyue's face and scolded her. You're a young woman, what are you thinking? Parading around with a neck full of marks. Ji Xinyue was unfazed. Dad, if you knew who the guy was, you'd be thrilled. I walked into the living room, and she looked at me smugly. Sis, what do you think about having young Master Zhou as your brother-in-law? The anger on Uncle's face instantly froze. He said in disbelief, What are you talking about? Ji Xinyue laughed. Sis, say something. You're not jealous of me, are you? That's fine. Do as you please. Why on earth would I be jealous of my own sister? I was utterly speechless. Every time Ji Xinyue opened her mouth, God must have been laughing. The uncle asked joyfully, Are you with young Master Zhou? Are you two dating? Ji Xinyue replied happily, Yes, he's coming over this afternoon to propose. Ji Xinyue waited and waited, but it wasn't Zhou Jiayan who arrived. It was Jiang Jixuan. Uncle's expression was stiff, but as they were all esteemed guests, he didn't dare show any disrespect. It was Ji Xinyue who couldn't hold back any longer. Mr. Jiang, where's Jiayan? Why isn't he here yet? He's still at the hospital. You should ask him yourself. Uncle quickly asked, Is there something we can help you with? Jiang Jixuan's gaze settled on me. I have something to discuss with Miss Ji Shuyu. Ji Xinyue clenched her fist and forced a smile. Sis, when did you and President Jiang get so close? I said with pointed meaning. Same as you. We got close at the hospital. Ji Xinyue's face contorted. She never expected that I knew everything. 6. I thought Jiang Jixuan had come to ask for the rabbit again, and the very first thing he said was, I thought about it all night. I want to be with you. This time, I was the one left speechless. Why the sudden change of heart? Jiang Jixuan kept his eyes fixed on the ground, as if he didn't dare to look at me, his palms slick with nervous sweat. He was incredibly nervous inside. I've never been in a relationship before, but I promise I'll treat you well. Jiang Jixuan was a genuinely handsome man with a heart of gold. He had a real talent for staying single this long. For all those years in his past life, Jiang Jixuan remained perpetually single. Whenever someone confessed their feelings to him, his standard reply was, Sorry, I'm just not interested. So, you can imagine how utterly shocked I was to hear him say that. Besides, I never gave him any hints in the first place. Did that one little kiss at the hospital really make him jump to all those conclusions? I was just teasing him. Couldn't Jiang Jixuan tell? Seeing me stay silent for so long, Jiang Jixuan couldn't help but look at me. Ji Shuyu, why aren't you saying anything? After turning all sorts of thoughts over in my mind, I attributed these anomalies to one possibility: that rabbit is filthy beyond recognition. Are you sure you still want it? What? Jiang Jixuan was caught off guard. How did the conversation suddenly turn to the rabbit? Isn't the only reason you're with me to get that rabbit back? Jiang Jixuan's expression shifted slightly. No, I'll find a way to get the rabbit back, but I want to be with you. I genuinely wanted this for a long time. When we parted yesterday, you patted me on the shoulder. Wasn't that a hint? I just think Jiang Jixuan is a fool. That's all. Noticing my change in expression, Jiang Jixuan's tone shifted. If you don't want to be with me, then why did you kiss me? Seeing his wounded expression, a pang of guilt shot through me. I never would have guessed that Jiang Jishuan, with his playboy looks, could actually be so innocent. Just as I was wondering how to explain myself, a sudden WeChat notification came to my rescue. I looked and saw it was a contact request from Zhou Jiayan. Along with a message, "You're hogging my empathy doll. Don't tell me you have feelings for me. I can't stand scheming women. My heart belongs to someone else. There's no chance for us. Not in this lifetime." Zhou Jiayan was convinced the empathy doll was in my possession. After all, that's how it was in our past life. I let out a laugh and typed my reply right in front of Jiang Jishuan. "You're overthinking it. That rabbit isn't with me. And who you like is none of my business," Zhou Jiayan replied quickly. "I'm about to marry your sister," as if that statement alone could make me panic. Jiang Jishuan watched the whole thing unfold before speaking up again. "Do you have some kind of grudge against Zhou Jiayan?" I said with utter seriousness. "Yes, a grudge. The kind where I wish nothing but a lifetime of misfortune upon him. After all, he's been disgusting me for over a decade, so I'm going to give him a taste of his own medicine." Jiang Jishuan paused. I thought he would speak up for Zhou Jiayan and blame me. Instead, he changed the subject and asked me again, "Do you still want to be with me?" Jiang Jishuan is as persistent as ever. I made up an excuse off the top of my head. Maybe you should think it over again. I only like the wild ones." This time, it was Jiang Jishuan's turn to fall silent. I sent Jiang Jishuan home, and when I returned to the backyard, I saw Dahe licking and nibbling at the rabbit. No wonder Zhou Jiayan sent me that frantic message. He must have been buttered up again and loved it. That evening, Zhou Jiayan arrived, fashionably late, to propose to the Ji family. Ji Xingyue sat beside Zhou Jiayan, her face flushed with shy delight. I watched the scene with a blank expression. Though Zhou Jiayan's gaze kept drifting back to me, I raised a brow, meeting his gaze without backing down. 7 After the meal, I leaned on the balcony, staring at the big black dog in the backyard, when a sudden noise came from behind me. I turned around and found it was Zhou Jiayan. His face was flushed, his eyes intense. He reached out and grabbed my shoulders, his breath hot against my face. I instantly felt uncomfortable. He was far too close and he shouldn't have been in my room in the first place. "Zhou Jiayan, what do you think you're doing?" "Ji Shuyu, how long are you going to keep toying with me?" Zhou Jiayan let out an unbearable, suggestive moan. I just felt sick. "Get away from me." It took all my strength to push him away. Zhou Jiayan lay on the ground, glaring at me. "Ji Shuyu, give me the empathy doll, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. I really don't have it. Why won't you believe me?" "Ji Shuyu, I know you have feelings for me. Why else would you play with that empathy doll every day? But don't you find it disgusting? I don't like you at all. The person I like is Ji Xingyue." I know why Zhou Jiayan fell for Ji Xingyue. It all started when they were kids, and she gave him a band-aid. He's been carrying that memory with him all these years. I find it a bit strange. Honestly, I don't really get it, but I respect it. "Zhou Jiayan, don't flatter yourself. I don't like you at all. And I wasn't the one playing with that empathy doll. Look, I'm holding my hands out. See, I don't have anything of yours." A flicker of shock and doubt passed through Zhou Jiayan's eyes, but he trusted his gut. He stood up, practically grabbing me in a fit of pique and frustration. "I don't care. This started because of you. So you're going to help me work this off. Damn it, I can't believe Zhou Jiayan would stoop so low. He was about to marry Ji Xingyue, and he still cheated. Even though I'm someone he despises, Zhou Jiayan was incredibly strong. I couldn't break free at all. Instinctively, I opened my mouth and screamed, "Help, someone, help." The uncle was the first to arrive. Stunned by the scene, he hurriedly pulled Zhou Jiayan away. Zhou Jiayan shouted, "Get off me. Ji Shuyu is my wife. What's it to you if I sleep with her?" A scream came from the doorway. "It's Ji Xingyue." She stared at the scene in disbelief. "Zhou Jiayan, I'm your girlfriend." Hearing Ji Xingyue's voice, Zhou Jiayan snapped out of his daze. A flicker of regret flashed in his eyes. He instinctively wanted to explain, but his mouth opened and closed, no words coming out. The uncle was furious. "Zhou Jiayan, you explain yourself. What is the meaning of this?" Zhou Jiayan suddenly let out a sharp cry and hurriedly covered his crotch. The uncle was a man himself. It would be strange if he didn't recognize that kind of reaction. Ji Xingyue stepped forward and shoved me. "Ji Shuyu, how dare you try to steal my boyfriend?" Hearing that, I found it utterly ridiculous. "This is my room. He barged in here and tried to rape me." Ji Xingyue gasped, her breath ragged. "Impossible." I held up my phone. "I've already called the police." My uncle panicked. "Oh, come on. It's nothing, really, just a small misunderstanding." I didn't think it was nothing at all. I was surprised to see Jiang Jishuan show up as well. His gaze swept over me, and he only let out a sigh of relief once he saw I was okay. 8. Are you here to help Zhou Jiayan? No, I'm here to help you, Jiang Zhishuan said earnestly. I couldn't help but laugh. Even across 2 lifetimes, Jiang Zhishuan is still the only one who'd ever stand up for me. I refused to back down. My uncle and Ji Xingyue kept trying to talk me around. When they saw it was useless, Ji Xingyue started screaming insults at me. If you hadn't been leading him on, would he even look your way? He's always been in love with me. You're the one who hit his empathy doll. Aren't you? You just want to marry him, don't you? The uncle was stunned. What? You have an empathy doll? Why didn't you say so sooner? I said firmly. I don't. This is all just your one-sided story. Jiang Zhishuan spoke up. She really doesn't have it. If you're determined to believe she does, then think whatever you want. Seeing Jiang Zhishuan speak up, my uncle immediately fell silent. Jiang Zhishuan took my hand and said to them, Zhou Jiayan did something wrong and deserves to be taught a lesson. As family, not only do you show no concern for Ji Shiyu, but you also blame her. Ji Xinyue's face darkened. Dad, look at them. Without another word to them, Jiang Zhishuan simply took me and left the police station. I whispered, Zhou Jiayan will be out on bail soon. No, I won't let that happen. I gave a light laugh. If you side with me, you'll lose Zhou Jiayan as a friend. He's the one who did wrong, so be it if he's lost. And Jiang Zhishuan didn't care one bit. Jiang Zhishuan took me to get a bite to eat. Maybe it was the mood, but I couldn't help myself and ended up telling him my secret. I gave that rabbit to my dog. Jiang Zhishuan gripped his chopsticks tightly, staring at me in disbelief. Would you like to come over to my place? Jiang Zhishuan has arrived. He stared blankly as Dahei kept licking and biting the rabbit. No wonder Zhou Jiayan was caught between pleasure and pain, tormented to the point of near breaking. All these feelings are because of this dog in front of me. Look, Dahei really likes this rabbit. Are you going to take the rabbit away now? Jiang Zhishuan was uncharacteristically hesitant. He met my clear, unwavering gaze and said with a blank expression, Rabbit? What rabbit? I didn't see anything. Jiang Zhishuan, so you're capable of lying through your teeth, too? Jiang Zhishuan gave a slight smile. Not at all, he said. You're quite right. Everyone should face the consequences of their actions. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Zhou Jiayan would never guess that his empathy doll ended up with my dog. Zhou Jiayan was detained for over 20 days. I don't know what Jiang Zhishuan did, but he made it impossible for the Zhou family to even get him out on bail. Ji Xingyue absolutely despises me. She's convinced I'm the one standing in the way of her happiness. Sometimes I just want to crack her head open and see what's actually going on in there. I couldn't be bothered with her yelling. It's not like I ever tried to stop them from dating, so why should I feel guilty? Meanwhile, I kept running into Jiang Zhishuan more and more often. At first, we only ever talked about Zhou Jiayan, but now we've started sharing even the little details of our daily lives. He'd even tell me about trivial things, like the time he messed up frying an egg. Jiang Zhishuan suddenly asked me out over the weekend. I said yes. When the time came, I finally asked for the address. It turned out to be a hotel. Seeing the hotel's name, I thought he must have sent the wrong message. Are you sure you sent this to the right person? Jiang Zhishuan replied quickly. You'll understand when you get here. This was immediately followed by an adorable sticker. That's so out of character for Jiang Zhishuan. With a mix of doubt and curiosity, I drove over. As I pulled up to the hotel entrance, my heart began to race. After a few seconds, I hesitantly knocked on the door. If it were anyone else, I probably wouldn't have come for safety reasons, but this is Jiang Zhishuan. He wouldn't do anything crazy. The door swung open on its own. With a strange feeling in my heart, I stepped inside. 9. The room was vast. It took me a while to navigate through it and find the inner bedroom. Several boxes lay on the bed. I glanced at them but couldn't make out what they were. I turned my head and heard the sporadic sound of a shower coming from the bathroom. I even found myself wondering what kind of game would require taking a shower. I sat on the bed, feeling restless, my mind racing with wild thoughts. Suddenly, my phone chimed with a notification. Zhou Jiayan is out of the police station. He's demanding to know where I am right now. I ignored him and just blocked his number. I don't think our paths will cross much in the future. At that very moment, the bathroom door swung open. I hadn't looked up, but when I did, I got the shock of my life. My nose started bleeding instantly. I quickly covered it. Jiang Zhishuan's face flushed crimson as he frantically tried to wipe it for me. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? I quickly shook my head, my eyes glued to Jiang Zhishuan. It was my first time seeing a man in black stockings, so my excitement was understandable. The nosebleed finally stopped, and a heavy awkwardness settled over the room. I had to glance at him several times before Jiang Zhishuan finally spoke up to explain. Didn't you say you liked them feisty? Jiang Zhishuan looked rather awkward, his ears and even his neck flushed red. He kept his eyes fixed on the ground, not daring to look at me. Summoning his courage, he asked, What do you think? Am I good enough? I swallowed hard. and my nose started bleeding again. It must be the dry, hot weather. Another chaotic scramble ensued, and I ended up stuffing my nostrils full of tissue paper. Jishuyu, you're not going to back out of our deal, are you? A faint sense of unease stirred in Jiang Jishuan's heart. He had already thrown caution to the wind, going out of his way to ask a friend for this specific outfit. It was a nightmare to put on. I raised my hand and couldn't help but touch his chest. He reacted strongly, letting out a low groan from his throat. It's really not easy for someone as straightforward as Jiang Jishuan to go this far. Jiang Jishuan, what are you trying to say? You can't possibly like me just because of one kiss. Is that really what men find attractive? Zhou Jiayan fell for Ji Xingyue over a band-aid, and Jiang Jishuan fell for me over a kiss. Jiang Jishuan whispered softly, because I like you. Why? My gaze is absurd. For all those years in my past life, you never liked me. Now, with just a bit more contact in this life, you've actually come to like me, because you're wonderful, you're a genuinely good person. Is it so strange that I like you? Jiang Jishuan said earnestly. I'm willing to change for you, whatever you like, I can be that person. I quickly stood up and draped the coat over Jiang Jishuan's shoulders. No, you can't. In the end, you'll lose yourself. You'll come to blame me for everything, and then we'll only end up resenting each other. Jiang Jishuan's eyes grew slightly red. No matter what I do it willingly. I would never blame you. I don't believe a word of it. Everyone harbors a bit of resentment deep down, just like when I married Zhou Jiayan, though my uncle forced me into it at first. A part of me was willing. I should have foreseen the consequences of a marriage built on no foundation of affection, but I didn't. I thought I was running towards a good man. I never really considered leaving after that. It just wasn't worth it. I had nothing to offer. Don't wear that again. Jiang Jishuan felt a pang of panic. Jishuyu, my heart softened for a moment. We can just get along normally, nothing needs to change. I was just teasing you that day. Jiang Jishuan's expression gradually softened. Then, may I pursue you? Just as I was about to speak, Jiang Jishuan's phone suddenly rang. It's Zhou Jiayan on the phone. Jiang Jishuan answered it right in front of me. Jiang Jishuan, where is Jishuyu? She blocked me, between settling scores with his friend and looking for me. He chose to look for me first. 10. Jiang Jishuan looked down at me. I picked up my phone. Zhou Jiayan, don't come looking for me anymore. Your empathy doll is in my backyard. You can go get it yourself. I've had my fill of revenge. I put Zhou Jiayan through the ringer these past few months. I bet he's practically impotent by now. Zhou Jiayan didn't know whether to be more shocked that I was at Jiang Jishuan's place, or thrilled that the empathy doll was really in my possession. I've made up my mind. I'm breaking up with Ji Xingyue. My brow furrowed deeply, a sense of foreboding washing over me. What I feel for her is nothing more than an obsession, just as I feared. Zhou Jiayan started spouting nonsense. My eyes met Jiang Jishuan's, and I blurted out, "Oh, honey, let's just pick up where we left off." Jiang Jishuan's breathing became visibly ragged. Zhou Jiayan's voice from the phone paused for a moment, then erupted into a shout. "Jishuyu, what are you doing?" My hands clung to Jiang Jishuan's neck. "Jishuan Ge, it hurts so much." Zhou Jiayan was absolutely furious. "Jiang Jishuan, Jishuyu is mine. You don't mess with a brother's woman." Jiang Jishuan remained silent, which only made Zhou Jiayan's mind race even more. Zhou Jiayan kept shouting, "Jiang Jishuan, I won't let you get away with this." I laughed and said, "Jiang Jishuan, tell him, whose am I? You're mine." Zhou Jiayan was absolutely furious. I hung up the phone immediately. Jiang Jishuan grabbed my hand. "So, you're giving me a chance to win you over." Jiang Jishuan was pleased. I patted his chest and said, "Hurry up and put it on. Aren't you cold?" Only then did Jiang Jishuan become a bit embarrassed. He hurriedly put on his clothes and asked me, "Are we going to the Ji family's place now?" Zhou Jiayan has probably already gone over there. No rush. Let's go out and have some fun first. Today, I just want Jiang Jishuan to understand one thing. Don't change for anyone, not even for me. Jiang Jishuan's actions truly moved me. But that's all there is to it. I don't want time to make him regret what he's done for me. As Jiang Jishuan changed out of the embarrassing black stockings, he accidentally knocked a box off the bed, and only then did I realize what it was. Jiang Jishuan hurriedly put the item away, the tips of his ears turning red. "Sorry, I didn't mean to. I thought you'd like it," I said with a meaningful look. "I'll save that for you to experience later." I had spent the whole day with Jiang Jishuan before I remembered I needed to go back to the Ji residence. The Ji house was brightly lit. The moment I stepped inside, I saw Zhou Jiayan, who looked absolutely furious. The moment he saw me walk in side by side with Jiang Jishuan, he immediately stood up, strode over, and reached out to grab me, but Jiang Jishuan instantly blocked him and pushed his hand away. "Zhou Jiayan, show some respect." "Jiang Jishuan, who the hell do you think you are? How dare you lay a finger on what's mine?" Jiang Jishuan said in a low voice. "My relationship with Ji Shuyu is legitimate. while you have no connection to her whatsoever. I heard Zhou Jiayan's composure shatter. Before I could even speak, Ji Xingyue jumped into the fray. She sobbed uncontrollably. Zhou Jiayan, why are you treating me like this? What did I do wrong? Zhou Jiayan averted his gaze. Sorry, my feelings for you have changed. I could practically hear the sound of a heart breaking. I took a deep breath. What a mess, an absolute mess, uncle. Was caught in a dilemma. Marrying into their family, whether it was me or Ji Xingyue, would benefit the Ji family, so, for the time being, he refrained from pointing fingers at anyone. Zhou Jiayan, I don't like you at all. Stop bothering me. You should have received your empathy doll by now, right? You said you'd marry whoever got the empathy doll. Well, now you can, as long as Dahe agrees. Our Ji family has no objections. Zhou Jiayan's expression instantly contorted. With a flushed face, I took Jiang Zhishuan's hand and hurried upstairs. I would never give Zhou Jiayan any chance to find out that I had also been reborn, otherwise, it would never end. I don't think I'll ever have anything to do with him again in this lifetime. A lot of screaming and cursing came from downstairs, and my name was mixed in. Zhou Jiayan wanted to come upstairs to find me, but was stopped by Ji Xingyue and my uncle. It was a complete mess anyway. Jiang Zhishuan came to my room and started looking embarrassed again. Just relax, you're welcome to come by any time. Jiang Zhishuan's face flushed uncontrollably. It's really not that big of a deal. I have no idea what he's thinking about. But anyway, I'm quite happy today. The past is beyond recall. But fortunately, I have a chance to start over. The end. Story 2. On the day I decided to divorce my husband, Gu Yuran, I caused a huge scene at the Gu family's ancestral home. Right in front of my husband, Gu Yuran, and my mother-in-law, I shoved a handful of raw pig's brain into the mouth of Su Lu, Gu Yuran's first love, his so-called white moonlight, and also his executive assistant. Then I flipped over the dining table and slapped a divorce agreement on it before Gu Yuran could even start yelling at me. I'll leave with nothing. You have my word. Hello everyone, and welcome to Takata Novel House. Today, I'm sharing a fascinating new story with you all. I rushed to the Gu family's old mansion. As soon as I entered, I saw a heartwarming scene unfolding in the dining room. My mother-in-law was seated at the head of the table, while my husband sat next to his first love and eternal crush. Su Lu, my son, Little Potato, was sitting next to Su Lu, who was serving food into Gu Yuran's and Little Potato's bowls as if she were the lady of the house. They were all smiling, painting a picture of such warmth and harmony. I felt like an unwelcome intruder who had stumbled into their home. They were so absorbed in their harmony that they didn't even notice my arrival. Not until the maid called out, "Young madam," the happy family of 4 finally turned their attention to me. They saw me with disheveled hair, still wearing slippers on my feet. A look of disgust flashed in my elegant mother-in-law's eyes. Couldn't you have made yourself presentable before coming over? Look at the state of you. What's the difference between you and a madwoman? Gu Yuran also frowned and pursed his lips tightly when he saw me. After 6 years of marriage, this was his way of showing extreme displeasure. My gaze finally settled on my own flesh and blood. My son Little Potato, in his innocent, naive eyes, I saw nothing but disgust. For me, being rejected by my husband was one thing, but to be despised to this extent by my own son, it was clear my life had hit rock bottom. My mother-in-law, Mrs. Gu, was about to berate me again when Gu Yuran cut her off. He immediately started interrogating me. Why didn't you come to Little Potato's birthday party the day before yesterday? What exactly are you trying to do? What kind of mother are you? Why should I have come? Would anyone here have welcomed me? I don't think so. My own son, the one I carried for 9 months, only has eyes for Su Lu, just like Gu Yuran. He doesn't even see his own birth mother. He doesn't give a damn whether I show up or not, and I'm dead set on divorcing Gu Yuran anyway. What does a child matter now? Not even God himself could stop me today. Ignoring Gu Yuran's accusatory stare, I fixed my eyes on Su Lu and began walking toward her, step by deliberate step, sensing the oppressive atmosphere closing in. Su Lu stood up guiltily. Miss Meng. Before she could finish, I had already strode to the dining table, yanked the little kid sitting next to Su Lu aside. Then I grabbed a raw pig's brain from the table and forcefully shoved it into Su Lu's open mouth. Her mouth was stuffed full with the pig's brain, her eyes wide with shock. I casually dumped another plate of fresh duck blood over her head, cracked 2 eggs on her, and sprinkled a handful of vibrant green spinach. Finally, I poured the sesame sauce Su Lu had prepared right over her head, and then, amidst my mother-in-law's furious roar, I flipped the entire hot pot table. Miss Meng, for fuck's sake, I've been married for 6 years. Are you blind, heartless, and waterlogged in the brain to call me Miss Meng? Since you clearly have no brains, I'll make you eat some pig brains to make up for it. Too, I cursed under my breath. My movements fluid, and without a moment's hesitation, the hot pot was overturned, sending a scalding spray everywhere. I wasn't spared, and neither were the others. The room was a complete mess, the floor littered with spilled food, sauces, and shattered dishes. Sulu, sitting next to Gu Yuran, was splattered with a mess of reds and greens, her mouth forcibly stuffed with pig brain. The searing pain from the hot pot broth made her face contort in agony. Unfortunately, her mouth was so full of that pale, creamy pork brain that she couldn't even cry out. Both Gu Yuran and Madame Gu were splashed with the scalding soup, naturally burning them and ruining their expensive clothes. Madame Gu began shrieking curses, shedding every last shred of her ladylike demeanor. You shrew, you uncouth, ill-bred harpy, having likely never seen me throw such a tantrum before. Lady Gu was not just scalded by the pain, but consumed by a far greater fury. She pointed a trembling finger at me, her hand shaking with rage. Gu Yuran stared at me with a face like thunder, his eyes glinting with a cold, murderous light that seemed ready to devour me whole. Little Potato, whom I had pushed aside, wasn't scalded, but he immediately ran over and clung to Sulu, crying. He kept calling out, Auntie Sue, Auntie Sue. Then he pointed at me and yelled, you're bad, get out. Seeing my own son curse me like that would normally break my heart, but at that moment, I felt no sorrow at all. Or perhaps my sorrow had already reached its peak. After all, I had just narrowly escaped death's door and barely made it back, and the ones responsible for it all were Gu Yuran and his beloved first love, his white moonlight, Sulu. 1 week ago was the 6th wedding anniversary for Gu Yuran and me. For the past 6 years, Gu Yuran has never once celebrated our wedding anniversary with me. He doesn't love me. Our marriage was just an accident. His first love, Sulu, broke up with him for some reason and went abroad. Gu Yuran got drunk, mistook me for the one he truly loved, and that's how we ended up together. Then I got pregnant, and Gu Yuran was forced to marry me because of it. After the child was born, Gu Yuran's mother, Madame Gu, forcibly took the baby back to their home. I could only visit periodically, because the whole family believed I was unfit to raise the child. It was also my own lack of clarity, for the child's sake, and for my own selfish reasons. Gu Yuran is incredibly handsome, so of course I have feelings for him. I thought my 6 years of unwavering devotion and constant care would surely have warmed Gu Yuran's cold, hard heart. So even though Gu Yuran was cold to me all those 6 years, I accepted it willingly. Perhaps my devotion moved the heavens, because I found myself pregnant again then. 4 weeks into my pregnancy, on the evening of our 6th wedding anniversary, I received the first bouquet of roses Gu Yuran had ever given me. I thought my perseverance had finally paid off, and the clouds were parting to reveal the moon. I was over the moon, clutching the first bouquet of roses I'd received in 6 years of marriage. I found a vase, arranged the roses, placed them by my bedside, and gazed at them with a foolish, blissful grin. Then, in a cruel twist of fate, I was struck by excruciating pain in my lower abdomen in the middle of the night and began to bleed. Gu Yuran's phone was switched off, so in the end, I had to call 120 and was rushed to the hospital. I lost my baby at just 4 weeks. I hemorrhaged heavily, was in emergency care all night, and was eventually transferred to the intensive care unit. When I finally came to my senses in the hospital, 3 days had already passed. I saw a post on social media from Sulu, Gu Yuran's first love, on the Eiffel Tower, a harmonious pair of figures nestled close together. The caption read, "My greatest wish in life is to embrace the one I love atop the Eiffel Tower. I have no regrets." 3. While I was fighting for my life, the husband I loved with all my heart was busy rekindling an old flame with his first love. I looked at the photo and laughed until tears streamed down my face. How utterly tragic. Meng Ji, how can you be so pathetic after more than 20 years of living? I thought that was the most heartbreaking thing, but it turned out to be just the appetizer. The doctor who performed my surgery said my miscarriage was caused by accidentally ingesting or inhaling something containing oxytocin. I carefully recalled what happened before my abdominal pain started. Aside from the roses that suddenly appeared out of nowhere, my daily routine that day was no different from any other. Could the oxytocin be on the roses? With this suspicion in mind, I had someone collect the roses for testing. The results were unsurprising. The concentration of oxytocin on the roses was off the charts, so the roses were sent by someone from Gu Yuran's company. Meaning all of this was his doing. No wonder he was completely absent for 5 years, only to have a bouquet sent in the 6th. I thought he'd had a change of heart. I never imagined he could be so cruel. Sulu is back. His love has returned. He can no longer stand my existence, so he dealt me this devastating blow. Knowing full well I was pregnant with no child to tie him down, he could divorce me without a second thought and be with Sulu. In truth, ever since Sulu returned, my title as his wife has been nothing but a hollow formality. Gu Yuran and Sulu acted more like a married couple, arriving at and leaving the office together. We worked together, met clients together, and attended dinners together, we even celebrated my son Little Potato's birthday together and attended the parent-child events at his kindergarten. All the signs had long shown Guyuran's true intentions, yet I was still dreaming, foolishly hoping he would change his mind. I was hopelessly stubborn and got exactly what I deserved, for I know my marriage with Guyuran has reached its end. Divorcing him to let him be with Sulu is the only way forward. I can't bear to part with my son, Little Potato. He's the child I carried and brought into this world after 10 long, hard months. He was so adorable, such a tiny little bundle, and he completely melted my heart. I think I stayed in this marriage for 6 years not just because I loved Guyuran and wanted him to change his mind. It was more because of Little Potato. He is my flesh and blood. He is my only family in this world, and I didn't want Little Potato to grow up without a father. I wanted to give him a complete family. I wanted him to grow up healthy and strong in a warm, loving environment, but it was all just wishful thinking on my part. My son, Little Potato, had already rejected me as his mother the moment Sulu appeared. He felt that Sulu was kind to him, and he wanted her to be his mother. He even called Sulu mom to her face. On my 7th day in the hospital, Guyuran and Sulu finally returned. Their first order of business upon returning was to have Sulu call me, asking me to attend Little Potato's parent-teacher conference. I wasn't fully recovered yet, but for my son's sake, I didn't want to let Little Potato down, so I dragged my weary body to the kindergarten. Just as I arrived, Guyuran and Sulu showed up at the same time. They were holding Little Potato's hands, and I felt like a complete outsider. I called out to him first, "Little Potato." Little Potato turned to look at me, frowning and asking in a sulky, childish voice, "What are you doing here?" "I'm here for your parent-teacher conference, sweetie. I don't want you at my parent-teacher conference. I want Dad and Auntie Lulu with me. Go away." Little Potato's childish voice felt like a knife to my heart. "But parent-teacher conferences are for parents, Auntie Lulu." Little Potato cut me off before I could finish. "Then just let Aunt Lulu be my mom. They say children speak their minds without filter. Their words are the most sincere, yet also the most cutting." I saw the flicker of triumph in Sulu's eyes, and I saw the impatience in Guyuran's. He frowned down at me with disdain. "Look at what you're wearing. You're a mess. People would think you're some beggar off the street. How do you think that makes Little Potato feel? How could he possibly be happy with you looking like that?" 5. I rushed over the moment I got Sulu's message. Even though I was lying in a hospital bed, I would have loved to put on makeup and change clothes, but there just wasn't time. Sulu only gave me an hour's notice. I can't magically create extra time in the end. I watched as my son, the child I carried for 9 months, took Sulu's hand and walked into the kindergarten. From start to finish, he never once looked at me, as if I were some disgusting piece of trash. I stood there, staring blankly at their retreating figures, hand in hand. They looked like the perfect family of 3, and I was the unnecessary one. My heart ached with a deep, searing pain, as if it had been stabbed. My mood was so terrible that I started bleeding heavily again down there. I went back to the hospital and lay on the operating table, where the doctor told me I needed to manage my stress. "Your life is your own, everything else is just a passing cloud." Yes, for me, this one life is all I truly have. My husband and son have nothing to do with me anymore since the outcome is already decided. Why should I cling to it? After the bleeding was stopped, I was taken back to my ward, and Sulu sent me a video. Little Potato, Guyuran, and Sulu went out for dinner after the parent-teacher meeting. They looked like a genuinely happy family of 3. Little Potato was smiling the whole time, and Guyuran was also smiling gently. They never smile when they're with me. Since they're so happy together, why shouldn't I just let them have that? I don't want this son anymore. After all, an ungrateful wretch can never be tamed. No matter how much effort you put in, you're just doing the work for someone else. 6. I spent another week in the hospital before being discharged. During that time, Sulu kept sending me Guyuran's itinerary. She called it a report, but it was really just her way of showing me how close she and Guyuran were. It's a shame, but I've already decided to let go and stop caring. The doctor said I need to rest, so I'm turning off my phone to avoid anything upsetting. When I got home from the hospital and turned my phone back on, I found it flooded with over 99 messages from Sulu, all about her and Guyuran's intimacy. I don't have the time or energy to see what they've been up to all week. I contacted a lawyer to discuss the divorce. The lawyer said they would do their best to secure more alimony for me. Since I've already decided to divorce, I have no intention of leaving empty-handed. For the past 6 years, I've been forced to stay at home as a housewife, acting as Guyuran's maid and nanny, without a single penny of my own income. In the divorce, I'm naturally going to fight for the best possible settlement. I plan to get a sum of money and move somewhere far away to live out the rest of my days in peace. After meeting with my lawyer, I returned home to find a message from Guyuran's other assistant. "Madam, Mr. Gu's flight lands at 10 p.m. His stomach has been bothering him, so please have some nourishing millet porridge ready for him. Under normal circumstances, seeing a message like that would have had me springing into action immediately, and then I just kept staring at the clock, counting every second, waiting for Gu Yuran to return. But now, I ignored the message from my assistant. Gu Yuran returned right at 10 o'clock. I was leaning against the headboard, scrolling through Sulu's social media feed. A petite woman was leaning against a man's chest. The man's face wasn't shown, but on his hand was a ring I recognized all too well. Caption: Peaceful days. I didn't leave a light on downstairs, nor did I prepare the nourishing millet porridge. Gu Yuran went upstairs and pushed open the bedroom door. Didn't I have Xiaozhou tell you to prepare the porridge? You didn't do it. I looked at his familiar, handsome face and asked him, enunciating each word clearly, am I the maid you hired? Gu Yuran froze for a moment, then his face darkened. Mengji, what's going on with you? Why did you turn off your phone and not answer? What are you sulking about now? I stared at Gu Yuran coldly without saying a word, and he quickly caught on. Is this just because I said a few words to you at the parent-teacher meeting the other day? You made a mistake, and I'm not allowed to point it out. Do you have any idea how long little potato has been waiting for you to go apologize to him? I continued to stare at him coldly in silence. Gu Yuran probably felt awkward himself. He opened the suitcase he was carrying, took out a box from inside, and opened it. This is a gift I prepared for you. Do you like it? Inside the box was a Patek Philippe wristwatch. I just saw this watch on Sulu's social media feed. She said it was a gift from someone she loves, so Gu Yuran bought 2 identical watches, one for Sulu, and the other just to placate me. He took out the watch to put it on my wrist, and as he leaned in, the scent of Coco Mademoiselle wafted over. It was Sulu's favorite perfume, the signature scent of wealthy socialites, and also a favorite among nightclub girls. The perfume made me sick to my stomach. I shoved Gu Yuran's hand away and snapped, Gu Yuran, I want a divorce. 7. Gu Yuran stared at me in disbelief, his face quickly flushing with a mixture of shame and anger. What on earth are you doing? Divorce? You think you have the right to bring up divorce with me? I don't have the right, but you should be overjoyed, shouldn't you? Without a divorce, are you really willing to let your first love be the other woman? I advise you to think twice. I spoke with calm detachment, but Gu Yuran was inexplicably furious. He flew into a rage and smashed the watch in his hand onto the floor. Do you think everyone is as filthy-minded as you? There is nothing between Sulu and me, he roared at me. Look at yourself. What a despicable sight you are. You neglect your own son, shirk all responsibility, and now you're consumed by petty jealousy. Don't you have anything better to do? I sneered. Is it that I'm unwilling to care for our son, or is it that your mother won't let me? My mother has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. If you just sweet-talk her a bit more and visit the old house more often, wouldn't that smooth things over? You have nothing to do all day. Do I really need to teach you how to handle a mother-in-law relationship too? I did consider humbling myself to try and please the esteemed Mrs. Gu, but the thing is, she simply won't accept a nobody like me, no matter what. If someone doesn't like you, even giving them your heart is useless. Gu Yuran thinks it's all my fault. You can't handle things at home, and you blame everything on Sulu. Do you have any idea how much Sulu has done to try and mend things between us? Sulu, trying to mend things between me and Gu Yuran. I'd be lucky if she wasn't actively stirring up trouble. Just hearing Sulu's name makes me sick. I cut Gu Yuran off right then and there. Save it, Gu Yuran, let's get a divorce. That's all I want right now. 8. Gu Yuran stormed out, slamming the door behind him, leaving the divorce matter unresolved. My mind was made up about the divorce. The very next morning, I went straight to Gu Yuran's company. Pushing open the door to the CEO's office, I found Sulu and Gu Yuran sitting intimately together on the sofa, deep in a conversation I couldn't make out. My sudden appearance startled both of them. Gu Yuran's face turned cold as he asked, "What are you doing here?" Ignoring his icy demeanor, I placed the divorce papers in front of Gu Yuran. Seeing the bold words, divorce agreement, a flash of delight crossed Sulu's eyes. Gu Yuran waved his hand, dismissing Sulu. Once she had left, he fixed a cold stare on me. Mengji. That's enough. My patience has its limits. I looked at him coldly in return. I'm not asking for much, Mr. Gu. You don't need to endure anything. Once you sign, we go our separate ways for good. You take your high road, and I'll take my narrow path. Gu Yuran had never seen me so resolute. He let out a breath, clearly suppressing the anger in his heart. Mengji, you need to understand two things. First, I will not give you half of the company's assets. Of course I know I don't have the nerve to claim half of his fortune, I know, and my demands are modest. I just need you to pay for 6 years of housekeeping and companionship. A flicker of anger crossed Gu Yuran's face. He wanted to lash out, but upon reflection, I wasn't much different from a housekeeper to him anyway. Every day, I prepared meals, cleaned the house, did his laundry, laid out fresh clothes for him, and occasionally served as a tool to warm his bed. In the end, Guyuran didn't yell at me. Instead, his tone was icy cold. Furthermore, you can't have the child either. A child of the Gu family must remain with the Gus. I nodded. You keep the child. I never wanted a child in the first place. Guyuran was taken aback. You don't want the child. Exactly, you said it yourself. The child belongs to the Gu family. Since he's a Gu, what does he have to do with me? A Meng, why would I want him? Guyuran knew the child was the apple of my eye. Back when Madame Gu took him to the old mansion, I went there every single day to keep an eye on him. No matter how much Madame Gu snubbed me or gave me the cold shoulder, I put up with it. He always knew Little Potato was my whole world. And now, here I am, willing to give up Little Potato just to get this divorce. He stared at me for a long moment before picking up the divorce papers. My demands weren't much, just an apartment and 10 million in compensation. Compared to Guyuran's current fortune, it was practically spare change. He skimmed through the divorce agreement in seconds, his eyes landing on my neat, carefully penned signature at the end. Guyuran tore the divorce agreement to shreds in a furious rage. You want an apartment and 10 million? In your dreams, I won't give you a single cent. If you want a divorce, you can leave with nothing. 9. A man's ruthlessness can be a truly terrifying thing. Guyuran lavished his first love, Sulu, with mansions, luxury cars, designer clothes, and fine jewelry just from what I saw on Sulu's social media. The value of it all was far beyond a mere 10 million, yet, for me, a woman who slaved away for him for 6 years, he's been stingy to the point of not spending a single penny. How vicious of him to even think of kicking me out with nothing. I couldn't swallow my pride, so I had my lawyer file for divorce to take Guyuran to court. Guyuran is wealthy and influential, while I'm penniless and have no one to back me up. Naturally, I lost the case. He refused the divorce, claiming our relationship wasn't irretrievably broken. I don't know why he won't agree to the divorce. Is it just because I asked for an apartment and 10 million? It's almost funny how Guyuran suddenly found himself with free time after I brought up divorce. He started coming home on time, only to be met with a cold shoulder for several nights in a row, not even getting a bite of dinner. His assistant, Xiao Zhou, sent me another message. Madam, Mr. Gu will bring Little Potato home for dinner tonight. Please prepare the meal. I ignored the message and chose to dine out instead. I got home at 10 in the evening, and both Guyuran and Little Potato were in the living room. Sulu was there too. Little Potato glared at me, fuming. You're the worst. You invited me for dinner but didn't prepare a thing. What kind of mother are you? I looked at this child who was the spitting image of Guyuran. He nestled affectionately in Sulu's arms and threw a tantrum at me. Honestly, the father and son aren't just lookalikes. Their tastes are identical too. I ignored Little Potato and went straight upstairs. Seeing that I had ignored them, Gu Yuchen suddenly stood up. Where did you go? What's it to you? You finally decided to come back. You still remember this is your home. Do you have any idea? Am I disturbing your happy family? I'm sorry, this is all my fault. I'll leave right now. I turned and left without a moment's hesitation. I spent a night at a 5-star hotel using Guyuran's money. During that time, Guyuran called me several times, and Sulu also sent me a bunch of messages. There were videos of her putting Little Potato to sleep, and of her wearing my pajamas in my bedroom. I scoffed. Since I had already backed down, I had no intention of getting angry. Guyuran refuses to divorce me and even wants me to leave with nothing. How should I handle this? I don't want to leave empty-handed. I just want a quick divorce. I stayed in a hotel for 10 days. During that time, Sulu sent me a message showing a video of her, Guyuran, and Mrs. Gu celebrating Little Potato's birthday. Little Potato was wearing a tiny crown, hugging Sulu's neck and kissing her cheek, then posed for a photo with one arm around Sulu and the other around Guyuran. I never responded to Sulu's provocations, so she probably thought I was furious. She kept harassing me, so I finally sent her a message. Stop sending me this nonsense. If you're so capable, get Guyuran to divorce me. If not, just send me your bedroom photos. That'll make it easier for me to file for divorce. 10 Su Lu didn't send any more messages while I waited for her to send the sex tape with Guyuran. I kept thinking about divorce. Guyuran refused to divorce unless I left with nothing. After much deliberation, I finally thought of a way out. I've been married to Guyuran for 6 years, and he's not exactly a complete miser. The wedding ring seems to be quite expensive. Before Sulu came back, he would even arrange for people to send me gifts like the bags and jewelry for attending galas. Since those things belong to me, I could just pawn them for money, right? I immediately rushed home, energized, to pack up. I had just finished gathering the jewelry and bags and was ready to leave. The sound of a car came from outside. and soon the door was opened. Gu Yuran was helped inside by his assistant, Xiao Zhou. Seeing I was home, Xiao Zhou breathed a sigh of relief. Madam, President Gu has had too much to drink. Could you make him some hangover soup? I didn't agree. Instead, I sent a message to Su Lu. Gu Yuran is drunk. Come over and make some hangover soup, quick. After sending the message, I left. On my way back to the hotel, I got a call from Gu Yuran. I didn't answer it, but by the time I checked into the hotel's butler came to inform me that there was a problem with my room payment, and I might not be able to extend my stay tomorrow. It goes without saying that Gu Yuran cut off my cards. At least I could manage for one more night. The next morning, I went straight to the jewelry store and pawned all the jewelry I had. The wedding ring fetched $1 million, a few other pieces of jewelry brought in a few million more, and several valuable limited edition bags also pawned for a few million. All in all, it came to about 10 million. I breathed a sigh of relief. I rented a temporary small apartment, then went to see a lawyer to have a new divorce agreement drafted. This time, the terms of the divorce agreement were changed so that I would leave with nothing. As soon as I got the divorce papers, I was about to go find Gu Yuran, but his assistant, Xiao Zhou, came to see me first. 11. Xiao Zhou has been Gu Yuran's assistant the longest, practically a witness to all the ugliness between me and Gu Yuran. Xiao Zhou advised me earnestly, Madam, President Gu has been in a bad mood lately. Please bear with him. He really does care for you deep down. There's no need to keep fighting with him. I just let out a hollow laugh. I wish I could believe that Gu Yuran has me in his heart, but it's obvious to anyone with eyes that I mean nothing to him. Xiao Zhou said, I know Mr. Gu has been neglecting you because of the company. He's just too busy. Mr. Gu and Su Lu are purely professional colleagues. I've been working closely with Mr. Gu, and I know there's nothing improper between them. If there's nothing between them, why are there so many intimate photos of Su Lu? I can't figure it out. But there's no point in digging into it now. Seeing my indifference, Xiao Zhou continued to persuade me. By the way, Su Lu isn't as bad as you think. She even advised Mr. Gu to treat you better. It was her idea for him to send you flowers on your wedding anniversary. Xiao Zhou mentioning the flowers reminded me of the spare tire I lost. A pang hit my heart. I asked Xiao Zhou, so, Su Lu arranged the flowers? Xiao Zhou shook her head. She didn't prepare them herself, but she did call to place the order. I was right there when I heard her tell Mr. Gu that women need romance and to be pampered. She said since he was abroad for work and couldn't be with you, sending a bouquet of roses to express his love would surely make you happy. So, it was because of Su Lu's suggestion that Gu Yuran, who had never cared about our wedding anniversary, arranged for someone to send me a bouquet of roses, and as it happened, that bouquet had been sprayed with oxytocin, which caused me to have a miscarriage. The florist wouldn't have had the nerve to do such a thing. After all, they had no grudge against me and no reason to harm me. I had always thought it was Gu Yuran's doing, but now I know it wasn't. It goes without saying who did it. I couldn't help but laugh. If Gu Yuran hadn't given Su Lu hope, how would she ever dare to treat me like this? How dare she provoke me? How dare she seize what's rightfully mine? It's all because Gu Yuran is backing her up. Not long after Xiao Zhou left, Su Lu sent me a message. Little Potato wants hot pot. We're having hot pot together at the old house tonight. Are you coming? Hot pot, huh? Well, I guess I'll go check it out. I didn't want to make such a scene, but if I don't, the others won't let this go. Well then, let's just make a scene. 12. The hot pot was overturned, and it took a while to get the raw pig brain out of Su Lu's mouth. She was scalded by the broth and sobbed, while Madame Gu raged and shouted from across the room. She threatened to call the police to teach me a lesson. I didn't say another word, just looked at Su Lu and smiled. Go ahead and call the police, Miss Su. And while you're at it, be sure to tell them all about the roses. I'm sure they'd love to hear that story. The moment I finished speaking, Su Lu's sobbing stopped dead. She immediately stopped Mrs. Gu from making the call. She had a guilty conscience. Gu Yuran grabbed my arm and roughly dragged me upstairs. He asked me through gritted teeth, what do you want? Divorce. I produced the divorce papers. I'll leave with nothing. I don't want a thing. Just sign it. And what if I don't? Gu Yuran glared at me. That's fine too. A scene like today's could happen a second, third, or fourth time. Are you sure you can afford the humiliation? That's assault with intent. Aren't you afraid of going to jail? No, I'm not even afraid of dying, let alone jail. Why don't you ask your first love if she dares to put me behind bars? I'll be waiting. You'll regret this. Gu Yuran signed his name through gritted teeth. I breathed a sigh of relief, holding the signed divorce papers. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. Please don't be late. As I was leaving, I saw Little Potato helping Su Lu apply burn ointment, even blowing gently on the injured spot. He saw me coming downstairs and glared at me with hatred, shouting, "You horrible woman, don't you ever come back here again." I looked at him and smiled. Don't worry, you'll never see me again in this lifetime. To think I gave birth to you. I hope your path ahead is smooth, and I hope the mother you adore will cherish you and keep you in her heart forever." With those words, I strode out. Madame Gu was screaming behind me, calling me vicious and petty for holding a grudge against a child. I never used to take little Potato's words to heart, but come on, he's 5 years old now. He should know better by now. Does he not remember how good I was to him before Sulu came back? Why is it that after spending just a little time with Sulu, an outsider, he suddenly turned on me, just like Gu Yuran? It's clear he's inherited Gu Yuran's cold-hearted cruelty, to be so vicious at such a young age, even disowning his own mother. Imagine what he'll be like when he grows up. I can't bear to have a son like this. 13. Early the next morning, Gu Yuran and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to file for divorce, starting the mandatory 30-day cooling-off period. I will never look back, and Gu Yuran is more than happy to see me go, so the outcome was a foregone conclusion. I packed my bags and left right after stepping out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. I changed my SIM card and returned to my hometown, a remote small city, knowing I couldn't just sit idle and eat through my savings. On the third day back in the small town, I used the money I had to take over a guest house. I'm gradually settling into this small town, but my health has been very poor since that miscarriage. I often have to go to the hospital, and the doctor treating me is a young, divorced man named Ji Yan. Ji Yan was a top graduate of Capital Medical University and had already risen to the position of chief physician at a hospital in the capital. However, due to a scandal orchestrated by his wife that ruined his reputation, he had no choice but to move to this small city with his daughter. Ji Yan is a highly skilled doctor who has been a great help to me. His daughter is very sweet and sensible, and I'm quite fond of her. When Ji Yan is busy working overtime on surgeries, his daughter comes to stay at my guest house if there's no one to look after her. The little girl is gentle and soft-spoken, and her sweet nature is truly endearing. She felt for Ji Yan, who was busy working overtime, and she also took a liking to me, a stranger she had just met. When I had a fever, she would take the initiative to pour me water, fetch my medicine, and even go out to buy me congee. It is said that human nature is fundamentally good at birth. This is how a child should be, knowing right from wrong. The month flew by, and I took the high-speed train back to finalize the divorce. As I was about to arrive, I switched back to my old SIM card. A flood of missed calls and messages instantly bombarded my phone. Most were from Xiao Zhou. "Madam, you left some belongings behind. When would you like to come collect them?" "Madam, the CEO is drunk again." "Madam, little potato misses you." "Madam, where on earth are you?" Gu Yuran also sent a message. "Meng Ji, little potato is sick. You need to come to the hospital right away." "Meng Ji, how could you be so cruel? He's your own son." I read the message with complete detachment. Stepping out of the high-speed rail station, I called Gu Yuran. "I'll be waiting for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau." 14. Gu Yuran arrived quickly and saw me sitting on a chair in the lobby. He strode over urgently. "Little potato is in the hospital." "What does that have to do with me?" I cut him off. "Mr. Gu, I'm here to get our divorce certificate with you. Don't bother me with anything else. You'd even abandon your own son." I let out a scornful laugh. "Wasn't it you who made him abandon me first? This whole thing was meticulously planned by you, your mother, and your first love. I'm just giving you what you wanted. Is there any need to pretend I didn't?" "Meng Ji, I never. Let's just get the divorce papers. It's over. There's nothing left to say." "Meng Ji, little potato really misses you. There's truly nothing between me and Shilu. I've already let her go. That's your business. What you do has nothing to do with me." "Meng Ji, for little potato's sake, can't you just think about it?" "No, Gu Yuran, the moment you kept that lingering connection with Shilu, the moment you brazenly brought her in and out of our home, the moment you let her pick up little potato and allowed our child to call her mom, our divorce was already sealed." I didn't. What is it? You just want to have your cake and eat it too? Or do you think 6 years of me lowering myself to be your free live-in maid wasn't enough? You want to chain me down to serve you, your mistress, and your whole family as an unpaid servant until I die." I cut him off bluntly. "I'm not that pathetic, Meng Ji. I have never treated you like a free servant. I've just been busy with work, too busy for work. But you can find the time to watch the sunrise and sunset with your first love. Too busy for work, but you can take a trip down memory lane with her. Don't you think your excuses are a little too convenient?" I cut Gu Yuran off once more. "Gu Yuran, there is absolutely no future for us. From the day you started getting cozy with Su Lu, from the day she killed the child in my womb, our fate was sealed. It's over between us, for good." Gu Yuran took a step back, stunned. "What do you mean, a child? When did you ever have a child?" 15. I stared at Gu Yuran, enunciating each word clearly. "I sent you a message when I found out I was pregnant. Don't tell me you were too busy to notice. What more is there to say about a man who doesn't even pay attention to his own wife's messages, or is he just making excuses? I opened my phone and scrolled to my chat history with Guyuran. There was a message, plain as day. Honey, I'm at the hospital. I just got the results. I'm pregnant. Guyuran opened his phone, but no such message was there. So where did the message I sent go? I sneered. You let just anyone handle your private phone. And you still claim there's nothing between you and Sulu. Does your face not hurt from the lie? Guyuran's face turned ashen. What happened to the baby? Why didn't you tell me? Do you really want to know? I stared at him coldly. The roses you gave me on our anniversary night were sprayed with oxytocin. That's what caused the miscarriage. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't I tell you? I called you countless times while I was bleeding out. I woke up after 3 days in a coma at the hospital, only to see a photo of you and Sulu embracing at the Eiffel Tower. I dragged my sick body to the kindergarten, and what did I see? A picture-perfect, harmonious scene of the three of you as a happy family, and you even said I looked like a beggar. Remember that? I'm not. I didn't know. For the first time, a look of guilt appeared on Guyuran's face. Yeah, you didn't know. You summed everything up with one simple sentence. I get it. It's all my own fault in the end. I accept it. Mengji, it was all my fault before. Please give me a chance. There's no chance left, I thought bitterly. As I teetered on the brink of death while he was off sightseeing and being all lovey-dovey with Sulu, my body was so frail. If only Guyuran had even a shred of genuine feeling for me, he would have noticed my gauntness, my pallor, yet he ignored me as if I were a stranger. Sulu is despicable. Isn't he the one who's truly despicable? If he had just kept his distance from Sulu and not given her an opening, would any of this have happened? Guyuran, stop beating around the bush. If you're a real man, own up to your actions. I'll set you free, and you'll give me peace. Let's just get this divorce over with and sign the papers. 16. My mind is made up, and Guyuran can't change it. After getting the divorce certificate, I walked out without looking back, with Guyuran following behind me. Mengji, are you really not going to see little potato? No, Mengji, he's just a child. My mother and Sulu have led him astray. It's all my fault, my mother's fault, but no matter what, he is still your son. Can't you stay here and teach him properly? No, my 5 years with little potato can't compare to Sulu's 6 months. Is he really that young? Little Mushroom is the same age as him. How does little Mushroom know right from wrong? She knew Ji Yen was exhausted, and her heart ached for him. She, a virtual stranger, had more compassion for me than my own child, who showed me none. He calls that woman, who showed up 6 months ago and is now inseparable from his father, mom, completely disregarding all my years of sacrifice for him. A child who shows no gratitude isn't worth keeping. I looked at Guyuran with indifference. That's enough, Mr. Gu. Our paths end here. Let's go our separate ways and never cross paths again in this lifetime. With that, I walked straight to the taxi I had pre-booked without looking back, as Guyuran's voice called out from behind me. Mengji, I'm sorry. I will make this right for you. I took the taxi back to the high-speed rail station. As I boarded the train, I saw the news playing on the screens. Sulu appeared on the screen, handcuffed. She committed premeditated murder. It wasn't just about using oxytocin to kill the baby in my womb, causing me to hemorrhage and nearly die. She also poisoned a colleague from the same company. Sulu targeted me because of Guyuran, but poisoning a colleague, that's just absurd. That makes absolutely no sense. I didn't dwell on Sulu's motives. These people had nothing to do with me anymore, so there was no point in wasting my energy on them. 17. That very night, I returned to the small town where I lived. Little Mushroom was sitting obediently in the lobby of the guest house, waiting for me. As soon as she saw me appear, she jumped up and carefully took out a piece of chocolate to hand to me. Auntie Gigi, this is for you. My teacher gave it to me as a reward today. It was just an ordinary piece of chocolate, but it was Little Mushroom's favorite treat. It was a reward from her teacher, and she left me her most cherished possession. I patted Little Mushroom's head and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Come on, let's go. Auntie Gigi is taking our Little Mushroom to buy lots and lots of chocolate. Life in the small town was fulfilling, and my health was steadily improving. I've even started putting on a bit of weight, and Little Mushroom has pretty much moved in with me now. Even Ji Yan comes to help out at my guest house right after work. I can see what's in Ji Yan's eyes when he looks at me. We've both been hurt before, and we both know how hard it is to love someone, so neither of us took the initiative to address the elephant in the room. This went on for over half a year, until an unexpected guest suddenly showed up at my guest house. Guyuran checked into my guest house with Little Potato, my spoiled son, who's used to being coddled, hadn't even been at the guest house for 2 hours before he hit Little Mushroom. I held Little Mushroom and comforted her for a while, then went to find Guyuran. Please take your son and leave. I do not welcome guests with such poor manners here. Gigi, Little Potato was just acting out of jealousy. I've told you, I have nothing to do with you anymore. Please don't disturb my life. The little boy who always called me a wicked woman peeked out from behind Guyaran, timidly calling out mommy. I smiled and said, sweetie, you've got the wrong person. Your mommy's name is Sulu, 18. Guyaran's face darkened. Gigi, he's just a child. Couldn't you just, no, how you raise your child is your business. I just don't want you, Mr. Gu, and your son affecting my livelihood. Can you move out? My little mushroom isn't welcome to you. Guyaran looked at my icy expression and backed down. Gigi, I've already had Sulu put away. Everything that happened before was my fault. Little Potato was just following Sulu's lead, Guyaran explained to me. Sulu is cunning and malicious. She told Little Potato that you don't love me enough. And I don't love you enough. She said that only by creating misunderstandings and making you feel a sense of crisis would our relationship improve. So, Little Potato treated you the way Sulu told him to. I listened to Guyaran say all this with a blank expression. It's all in the past now, and it doesn't stir a single ripple in my heart anymore. Little Potato timidly came over to apologize. Mommy, I'm sorry, I love you. Looking at his face, identical to Guyaran's, I couldn't muster a single shred of forgiveness in my heart. Everything from the past was a nightmare to me, and I never want to go back to that. I don't understand why Guyaran is so persistent in seeking me out. With his status, he could easily find a woman from a suitable background. What's the point of him lowering himself to come looking for me like this? Does he love me? How could he? If he had even an ounce of affection for me, he would never have ignored and hurt me like that. Guyaran was still explaining. It was my lack of awareness that caused all of this. I was terrible to you before, and I will make it up to you. Gigi, I never truly meant to drive you to the wall. I only made you leave with nothing to make you come back to me. He produced the ring and jewelry I had pawned. I've redeemed them all. Gigi, they're back where they belong. Of course I wouldn't accept them. Affection that comes too late is worthless. That won't be necessary. These were never mine to begin with. Gigi, I'm genuinely here to apologize and admit my mistakes. I really will change. I understand. Now that you've apologized, can you please leave? He can apologize all he wants, but whether I accept it is my business. Guyaran refused to leave, waiting right there until Ji Yan returned. Upon seeing Ji Yan, a wary expression crossed his face. Who is he? Why is he living here? 19. Ji Yan looked at Guyaran and seamlessly picked up the thread of conversation. I'm her boyfriend, and you're already seeing someone else. Meng Ji, how could you? A look of utter betrayal flashed across Guyaran's face. I hadn't expected Ji Yan to say that, but it was a perfect way to get rid of Guyaran. I replied coolly. I started dating after my divorce. I didn't cheat, and I haven't done anything immoral. What's wrong with that? You said you loved me. Guyaran couldn't accept it. Mr. Gu, my love for you was worn away by your heartless indifference over the past 6 years. Besides, no one stays stuck in the same place forever. I told you long ago that we would never meet again in this lifetime. I really will change. Gigi, can't you give me a chance? We have a child. We need to give our child a complete family. Guyaran refused to leave, stubbornly staying outside my guest house. Little Potato came to make amends too. It's a shame my heart is as hard as iron. I truly have no desire to go through all that suffering again. I don't want to see the face of Guyaran's mother, looking down on me as if I owed her a fortune. Most importantly, seeing Guyaran and Little Potato makes me remember all the pain I once endured, desperate, helpless, and on the brink of death. To keep Guyaran from staying any longer, Ji Yan and I put on a little act. Seeing that Ji Yan and I were sharing a room, Guyaran finally gave up hope. He left, taking Little Potato with him. As he was leaving, Little Potato came to me and said, Mommy, I'll come visit you again someday. Little Potato and Guyaran left, and Little Mushroom stayed by my side, treading carefully. She was afraid I would be upset, afraid I would feel heartbroken and in pain. Such a young child, learning how to win my favor, not born of me, yet more precious than if she were. I lost a son, but in return, I gained a daughter who loves and cares for me. A year later, Ji Yan and I walked down the aisle. The end. That concludes the first story. I hope you enjoyed it. The next one will be even more exciting, so let's continue the journey together. On the eve of our wedding, Muchuan held his childhood sweetheart and asked me for one night of freedom. He said that after this night, he would be faithful to our marriage until death. I looked at him for a long moment, then nodded in agreement. As he walked past me, he said with an air of nonchalance, You could go find yourself a man tonight. I promise I wouldn't mind at all. No need to go out. I silently walked up to his very best friend with deep affection. I gazed into those beautiful eyes. Sleep together tonight. He has his childhood sweetheart. But don't I have my first love one? The private room was filled with people, his closest friends and my bridesmaids and best friends. After a few rounds of drinks, everyone was getting a little tipsy. Muchuan suddenly pulled his childhood sweetheart, by Yoli, into an embrace. See, Yoli, childhood friends can never really compete with a destined newcomer. Haven't I just been swept away by Li Ruishi, that destined newcomer? I'm marrying someone else tomorrow. Don't you feel just a little bit of regret? A pang of bitterness instantly washed over Bayoli's face, as if tears were about to fall any second. But what good is regret now? You're the one who ended up falling for her. Muchuan gazed down at Bayoli in his arms, his eyes filled with nothing but tender pity as he looked into her tear-glazed ones. How about we make up for that regret tonight? Bayoli looked up. How do we do that? Then, I saw Muchuan slowly turn his gaze toward me. Darling, he called out, tomorrow, we'll be husband and wife. I swear, I will be faithful to our marriage until death, and I will never betray you. But tonight, our last night before the wedding, how about we do something wild? Let's give each other one night of freedom. A wave of jeering and shrieks erupted in the private room. Then, because of my ice-cold expression, a heavy silence fell once more. Muchuan's ulterior motives were plain for all to see. He wanted to spend a wild, carefree night with the childhood sweetheart he'd been entangled with throughout his youth. This was to make up for the regret of having loved each other but never having been intimate. He was convinced I wouldn't outright refuse him, and that as long as he sweet-talked me properly afterwards, I'd let the matter slide. The reason for his confidence was quite simple. Even though he was the one who pursued me passionately, when it came to family background, I was marrying far above my station. He believed I was not only captivated by him, but also utterly unwilling to let go of his wealthy family status. After all, for a common girl like me, whose parents were both ordinary factory workers, marrying into a wealthy family was an incredibly difficult feat. How fortunate I was to have met him. He was right. I knew all too well what it was like for a common girl to catch the eye of a wealthy young master, only to face opposition from his powerful family. But not with him. The sisters beside me tugged at my sleeve. Ruishi, don't be foolish, you can't agree to this. I looked at Muchuan for a long moment, seeing the determination and absolute resolve in his eyes. Finally, I nodded, my tone calm. All right, I agree. Hoo-hoo. A burst of laughter and applause erupted. The tense silence in the private room instantly melted away. Sis-in-law, you're a real sport. No wonder you were worthy of marrying into the Mu family. No wonder my brother Chuan knelt in the old man's study for 3 days and nights just to marry you. A woman worthy of entering a family like ours must have that kind of grace. A relaxed smile lifted the corners of Muchuan's slightly tense lips, and he held the docile young woman in his arms even tighter. He stood up, holding her close. All right, it's getting late. I have a wedding tomorrow, so I can't stay up all night with you lot. Yoli and I are heading off. Order whatever drinks you want. Have fun. Tonight's all on me. Whoa, our little Yuri is in for a rough night. Another wave of teasing and jeering filled the private room as he passed by my side, and to appear fair, he lowered his gaze and said to me magnanimously, darling, if you want, you can go out and find a man tonight. I promise I absolutely won't mind. He must have been counting on my proud and conservative nature, knowing I wouldn't be the type to play around, which is why he dared to say such a thing to me. I turned to look at him. Really? He raised an eyebrow. Of course, a gentleman's word is his bond. You know I always keep my promises, just like I said I would marry you. And I did. He spoke with a proud tone, as if marrying me was some tremendous favor he had bestowed upon me, so I should know my place and be magnanimous about him. And by Yoli tonight I averted my gaze and looked toward the man in the far corner of the private room, whose face had been carved from ice all evening, not uttering a single word. There's no need to look outside. What? Paying no further mind to Muchuan's expression, I rose and walked silently to stand before the man. She sank down, lowering her posture, her gaze overflowing with emotion as she looked up to meet his eyes. She ventured a cautious invitation. Shall we sleep together tonight? Too. The man with an icy expression leaned back in the leather sofa, looking down from his superior position. It felt like he could kick me away in disgust at any second. A sudden, stifled laugh came from behind. It was Muchuan. Honey, of all people, why did you have to go to him? He was hurt so badly by his first love that he developed a deep aversion to women. He hasn't been near one in years. Misogyny. I mulled over those 2 words in my heart, didn't I? Emotions churned within me as I stared at him without blinking, gazing at the face that had haunted my thoughts and stolen my sleep on countless nights. After we met again, it was only with the courage from tonight's drink that I dared to meet his gaze like this for the first time. My nails dug into my palms. Truth be told, I wasn't sure what attitude he would have towards me now until the cold tip of a leather shoe pressed against my chin. I saw the man tilt his chin even higher, his expression growing several degrees colder, intimidating, his voice laced with anger. he asked me. Are you sure? I refused to back down. Bravely, I pressed my chin further against the top of his shoe. I am. He suddenly rose from the sofa. I suppose everyone thought I had thoroughly angered him. The next second, I'd be heartlessly cast aside by him after all. I heard that not long ago, a minor celebrity tried to curry favor with him at a cocktail party. Annoyed that the person was in his way, he simply swung his arm and pushed them straight into the pool. Someone was drowning and calling for help, but he didn't even spare them a glance before striding away. Even Muchuan was so alarmed that he darted in front of me, arms outstretched to hold him back. Brother, she's my wife, after all. Don't lay a hand on her. She doesn't know your temper. Please, cut her some slack. Ruishi, get up right now. Didn't I tell you before? You absolutely cannot mess with this guy. He's not interested in women. I know you're not interested in any man besides me, so stop putting on a brave face in front of me. Go back and rest early with your girlfriends. It was unclear which of Muchuan's words had struck a nerve, but the man shoved him hard, sending him stumbling back several steps. His gaze was sharp as a blade. Who said I'm not interested in women? In that instant, my vision blurred as he hoisted me onto his shoulder. His low voice, laced with old grievances, reached my ears. Li Ruishi, you came to me of your own accord, just as we were about to walk out the door, leaving everyone in stunned silence watching my best friend carry me away on his shoulder. Muchuan called out from behind, Yandong, what's the meaning of this? Yes, that's his name, Yandong. The man halted his steps, turned his face slightly, his tone devoid of emotion. Exactly what it sounds like. Muchuan's tone was clearly agitated. Are you serious? That's my wife. You've been calling her wife all night long. Does the word wife still sound grating to you? Yandong turned and gave Muchuan a deep look, as if he couldn't be bothered to waste another word on him. He turned and hoisted me over his shoulder, heading straight for the door. Muchuan seemed genuinely flustered now. He caught up and grabbed Yandong's arm. Yandong, we've been thick as thieves since we were kids. His gaze fell on me, slung over Yandong's shoulder. You don't poach on a friend's turf, you know that, right? Yandong showed no intention of letting me go. After shaking off Muchuan's hand, he shoved him hard by the shoulder. He pushed him right into Baiyoli, who was also rushing to the doorway, a perfect cabotin. The two nearly kissed. The man's tone was icy. As long as you understand, a night like this is rare, you'd better worry about yourself. 3. I was already feeling a bit dizzy from the alcohol now, slumped over Yandong's back. My head felt even more woozy, wanting him to put me down. I called out to him softly, Yandong, but all I got in return was his icy retort. Don't call me that. Are we even close? The rest of what I wanted to say, I swallowed back, gritting my teeth. Just a bit dizzy. I can handle it. Well, I owe him one. Not far away, Muchuan was still pressing on, looking like he was about to give chase. Yandong, don't you dare do anything reckless. You're going to regret this. Another friend nearby held him back. Bro Chuan, you know how Brother Dong's been so irritable since he came back to the country. Don't take him so seriously. For that project around the South China Sea, you quoted such a low price. He only kept quiet because of how tight you two are privately. He must be holding at least a bit of a grudge deep down. Everyone knows how much you care about your wife. Tonight, he was probably just trying to get under your skin on purpose. Who knows, maybe he'll just drop her off far away as soon as they get downstairs. You know how long he's been alone without a woman by his side, don't you? Have you forgotten the nickname we gave him when we teased him in private? The Black Monk, glaring at everyone, shunning women, running from anything female. You were the one who started calling him that. Relax, his heart still belongs to that little wildcat of a first love who dumped him. There's no way he'd lay a finger on your wife. Muchuan didn't follow us. And Yandong and I walked further away just before stepping into the elevator. I overheard my two lovely bridesmaids mocking Muchuan. Their tone was dripping with sarcasm. Oh, can't take a joke. And giving the other party a night of freedom. A gentleman's word is his bond. You could go find yourself a man too. I absolutely wouldn't mind. Our Ruishi is single and free tonight. At the VIP parking spot on the first floor, I was indeed abandoned by Yandong. He just dumped me into the passenger seat of his private car, the black Pagani. Sped off into the pitch-black night, inside a villa of exceptional style and taste. I don't know this place, and I've never been here. As soon as we were inside, he tore off my coat and clamped a strong hand on the back of my neck. A kiss, heavy with resentment and malice, landed on my lips. I winced in pain and pushed him away. Yandong, my waist was seized in a vice-like grip, pinned against the wall until I couldn't move an inch. His tone was vicious. Weren't you the one who wanted to sleep with me? What are you hiding from? I had no retort, and could only plead, be gentle. In an instant, I was thrown onto the bed. He wasn't about to go easy on me, not a chance. Garments fell one by one onto the floor. He was fierce, showing no trace of tenderness or mercy. Only when he discovered I was still untouched did he suddenly freeze, stunned. The handsome face, which had been cold and pitiless, filled with nothing but resentment and fury, finally softened a little. You, haven't you slept with Muchuan, after all these years apart? How should I explain my current situation to him? I bit my lip, hesitating, and gave an evasive reply. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. The couple getting married tomorrow has never even slept together in this day and age. Who would believe that? And who could even manage it in my case? Of course, there's a reason for it. The reason is, strictly speaking, Muchuan and I never actually dated. We skipped that stage entirely and jumped straight to the end. Marriage, of course. That doesn't change the fact that he genuinely wants to marry me, and I genuinely want to build a life with him. But after tonight, I suppose everything is about to change. Yandong's thick brows furrowed. He stared at me for a long moment, undoubtedly finding it all unbelievable. To my own surprise, Muchuan and I had never actually been intimate, yet, with the undeniable truth laid bare before him, he had no choice but to believe that I truly had never been with another man. The frost in those beautiful eyes gradually melted away, slowly tinged with a hint of red. It was as if years of pent-up grievance and deep affection were finally willing to reveal a tiny corner, just for me to see. In the end, with a sigh of resignation, he let his guard down and pulled me into his embrace. On the corner of my lip, which he had mercilessly bitten earlier, he placed a kiss there. He rolled us over, cradling me and pressing my head into the crook of his neck. Our cheeks pressed close, whispering intimately. I heard his scorching breath whisper, Li Ruishi, I still love you. After those words, his kiss was lingering in tenderness, for tears welled in the corners of my eyes, the chandelier on the ceiling swaying incessantly before me, a blur past midnight. My phone suddenly buzzed and rang without stopping. The usually pleasant ringtone now felt jarring and intrusive, shattering the man's concentration. It's my phone. It's Muchuan. Who has time for him right now? I meant to swipe to decline the call, but my hand was unsteady and I accidentally hit the answer button instead. Muchuan's voice came through immediately, sounding uncharacteristically flustered. Honey, why aren't you home? Where did Yandong leave you? Let's stop playing this stupid premarital freedom game. I've thought about it, and it's so pointless. Besides, Bioli is nothing but a cheap floozy. She's not even fit to hold a candle to you. Where are you? I'll come pick you up. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I suggested something so stupid back in the private room. Before I could even speak, Yandong snatched the phone right out of my hand. His tone was smug. Regret it. Too late. You can't pick her up, because she's in my bed right now. What? Yandong. Beep. Yandong hung up, turned off the phone, and tossed it aside without a second thought. The trouble Muchuan stirred up ended up landing on me. He scooped me up and carried me from the headboard to the foot of the bed. He nibbled my ear and whispered, again. The seconds and minutes dragged on relentlessly. I waited and waited, but not a single moment of respite came. The night finally gave way completely to the bright light of dawn. Not even the drawn curtains could block out that brilliant sliver of light. Today is the day of my wedding with Muchuan. Right now, I should get myself ready and hurry back home. After putting on my wedding dress, I sit at the vanity and let the makeup artist create a beautiful bridal look for me. I wait quietly and with eager anticipation for Muchuan to come and take me away with a long wedding motorcade. Yandong, of course, was well aware of all this. As dawn gradually broke, the man who had toiled tirelessly through the night felt the aggression that had subsided slowly creeping back into him. He refused to let go, and he refused to give up. Pleading was useless, begging for mercy was useless, sweet talking was useless. He just kept pressing me, over and over, with those beautiful, red-rimmed eyes. Don't marry him, promise me, Li Ruishi, don't marry him, promise me. I wanted so badly to say yes, if only he would pause for a moment and let me catch my breath. I can't even form a complete word right now. After a long silence from me, the man seemed to give in to despair, his weight collapsing onto me. He held me tightly, so tightly, in his arms, his voice laced with a thread of pleading. Li Ruishi, don't marry him, please. That was tough. Finally, I got a moment to respond to him. Okay, I said, my voice completely hoarse. He immediately propped himself up, his gaze burning into me. You agree? I nodded emphatically, as if you'd actually let me go marry your best friend if I said no. Besides, now that I've seen what a scumbag Muchuan really is, do I look like an idiot? Why on earth would I run off to marry him? His Adam's apple bobbed repeatedly, his lips parted slightly, as if carefully weighing his words, before he finally blurted out, what if I told you now that I want you back? Will you? Every muscle in my body ached, leaving me caught between laughter and tears. I could only manage to feebly pound his chest with my weak little fists. Yandong, you kept me up all night without a single minute's rest, and you still have to ask me if I'm willing. His expression softened suddenly. So you are willing? I could only answer him with another firm nod. 5. A loud, smacking kiss landed on my lips. He pulled me up to a sitting position in one swift motion. Li Ruishi, come with me somewhere. Where to? You'll find out when we get there. I shook my head and fell back onto the bed. No, some other day. I'm exhausted. I can't move a muscle. His tone was firm. No, today, right now. It's fine if you can't move. I'll carry you, or give you a piggyback ride. As he said this, he was already hurriedly dressing me. I was seriously at my wit's end. I'm all dirty. We were up all night. Yandong. Don't wear it like that. At least take a quick shower. He seemed to be in a great hurry. It's fine, no one will know. We can wash them when we get back, or just throw the clothes away and buy new ones. And so, the man and woman, disheveled and unrestrained from a night of passion, ventured out into the world with only a few scraps of cloth to cover their shame. Yandong carried me out of the house and into the passenger seat. He drove steadily and fast. When I got in the car, I noticed him checking my handbag. I wondered what that was about. We had barely left the villa for 2 minutes when he reminded me, Ruishi, turn your phone on, let the family know the wedding is cancelled, so they don't make a wasted trip to the venue. Oh, right. It finally dawned on me. He was practically driving me out of my mind. Ignoring Muchuan's endless messages and calls, I contacted my parents first. By the time I had finished reaching out to my friends and family, the destination Yandong was taking me to had come into view. I glanced sideways. Well, on the bright red archway, for large characters were prominently displayed marriage registration, the Civil Affairs Bureau. Is this guy out of his mind? Completely insane. I stared at him in utter disbelief, but he only responded with a gentle, soft chuckle. He then turned off the car and lifted me out. We sat down on the waiting bench outside the Civil Affairs Bureau. The place isn't even open yet. In his frantic rush, he didn't even bother to tidy us up before dragging me here. One arm was wrapped around me, while his other hand grasped both of mine. He seemed to finally settle down a bit, and said, Li Ruishi, it's been 7 years since we parted ways. 7 years of missed time. Don't you think that's a very long time? I truly can't wait another second. If you're willing, let's just go get our marriage license. Okay, how could I possibly be unwilling? My first love waited for me for 7 years, and I never truly got over him. Now that we have a chance to make it work, why on earth would I say no? But then, I remembered the scene from years ago when his mother practically dragged me to meet her. Yandong and me, getting married straight away. Do you know what kind of family he comes from? They're perpetually at the top of the national rich list. How could a marriage between us ever be that simple? So I couldn't help but ask, your family, Ruishi. He cut me off. He looked me straight in the eyes. Dead serious. Two adults fall in love. They want to be together. They want to be together forever. I want to get that certificate to protect this relationship. I don't believe we necessarily need our parents' approval for that. They have their own opinions. But you and I are both adults. Getting married is just between the two of us. Of course, regarding your parents, I'll go and apologize to them myself. I'll take whatever scolding or punishment they give, until they accept me as their son-in-law. But as for my side of the family, Yandong let out a deep sigh. Whether in the past or the present, it was equally difficult to handle. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. Li Ruishi, I'm only going to say this once. If you dare to retreat, run away, and abandon me like you did 7 years ago, you're a dead man. I quickly nestled my head against his chest to soothe him. I won't run. I'll never back down again. I'll do whatever you say. 6. By the time the Civil Affairs Bureau staff started work, several more couples had lined up behind Yandong and me. When he deftly pulled my documents from my handbag, I remembered how he had been furtively rummaging through it just before we left the house. So that's what he was doing, checking to see if I had my papers. Naturally, we were the first couple to register our marriage that day. Having stayed up all night, the two of them inevitably sported a pair of heavy dark circles under their eyes. They should have been exhausted, yet in that little red background photo on the marriage certificate, they were grinning like a pair of love-struck fools. Anyone could see they married willingly, enthusiastically so. The official seal was stamped in one corner of the photo, and we each held our own copy. My hands were trembling with excitement as I took the red marriage certificate, and so were his. I got married to my first love. He scooped me up in his arms and planted a big kiss on my cheek. As we stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, he leaned close to my ear, his breath heavy, and whispered, darling. I was too shy to look at him, covering my face with both hands, yet I couldn't hide my smile, my 8 little white teeth all showing, as I replied, honey, Turning off my phone brought such peace. On the way back to the villa, he took me on a quick shopping spree to grab 2 new outfits. The moment we stepped inside, he stripped me bare again, this time tossing all my clothes straight into the trash. He then carried me to the bathroom where we washed up and played around. Afterwards, I changed into the new pajamas and sank into the plush sofa, watching him from a distance as he prepared a belated breakfast for me in the kitchen. Shrimp and egg custard was one of my favorite dishes back when I was with him. He still remembers. He brought it over to the sofa and fed it to me, spoonful by spoonful. Some things are a bother, but they still need to be dealt with and faced. After washing up and having a bite to eat, we both felt much more refreshed. Yandong turned his phone on first. The moment it powered on, it was bombarded with calls. He answered. The first person to barge into the chat was a mutual friend of his and Muchuan's. Oh my god, Dong, you finally turned your phone on. Where are you? You're not really with that Li Ruishi, are you? Do you have any idea? Brother Chuan has gone completely nuts. He's been tearing around the city looking for you since last night and has already ransacked over 10 of your properties here. It's Brother Chuan's wedding day today. You and the bride are nowhere to be found and unreachable. All the groom's guests have arrived, but not a single one from the bride's side has shown up. It's trending online right now. Headlines are saying the Mu family's young master is getting married, but the bride has run away. The whole internet is laughing at the Mu family right now. Brother Chuan is currently speeding toward your villa on Punan Road. I was holding my breath, terrified, but Yandong remained perfectly calm. I'm on Punan Road. Tell him to come here. After hanging up the phone, Yandong placed the finished bowl and chopsticks on the coffee table, took both of my hands, and said, honey, go get changed. After we meet with Muchuan, I'll go with you to your parents' place to see your aunt and uncle. We'll explain this situation to them so they don't worry at home. I nodded. Alright. We had just changed our clothes when Muchuan started banging on the front door. Yandong pressed the electronic remote button to let him in. Muchuan was disheveled, with dark circles under his eyes and a web of red, strained blood vessels filling his sockets. The dark stubble on his chin made him look less like a young groom and more like a down-on-his-luck, unkempt middle-aged man. The moment he stepped inside, the fury on his face looked hot enough to set the whole villa ablaze. First, he glared furiously at Yandong standing before him, then his eyes landed on me behind. He took several deep, ragged breaths, as if swallowing down shattered teeth. Ignoring Yandong, I steadied my voice and said to him, darling, we're getting married today, remember, come on, there's still time, let's go get married. As he spoke, he reached out to take my hand. Yandong shut him down. Muchuan, don't call her that without a wedding or a marriage certificate. She's not your wife. Muchuan roared. Are we really going to have the wedding right now? Their gazes locked in a silent battle, and Yandong's expression grew even more severe. I spoke from behind him. Muchuan, I agreed to your last night of freedom proposal, but I never agreed to marry you today. I'm sorry, as of last night, we both became single again. I can't marry you. After hearing my refusal, Muchuan ground out his words through clenched teeth, asking Yandong, did you lay a hand on her last night? Yandong retorted coolly, what do you think? Before I could process it, a fist flew. Yandong was sent stumbling by a blow from Muchuan. 7. You slept with my wife. I'll King. Kill you, you son of a b****. Steadying himself, Yandong immediately retaliated by throwing a punch straight at Muchuan's face. Muchuan stumbled backward and collapsed against the shoe cabinet by the door. Yandong turned and fetched a marriage certificate, then grabbed Muchuan by the collar to force him to look at it. Take a good look, Li Ruishi, she's my wife now. Call her wife one more time, I dare you. Muchuan was completely stunned. With trembling hands, he reached out to touch the marriage certificate. On it were the faces of 2 blissful fools, Yandong and me, unable to hide our smiles, alongside the strikingly fresh registration date next to the photo. As if finally finding a point of attack, he grabbed Yandong by the collar. His eyes darted from Yandong to me, then back to Yandong again, before he demanded in furious disbelief, when did you two get together? You. Have you been sneaking around behind my back this whole time? Another punch landed on Yandong's face. Yandong, I thought you were my best friend, and this is how you stabbed me in the back. You slept with my woman, you stole her from me. I haven't even dared to lay a finger on her myself, and you had the nerve to drag her off to get married on the very day of my wedding to her. I'll fight you to the death, you ungrateful bastard. Who said she's your woman? She's mine. Mine. The 2 men began to brawl. I had no choice but to take sides, only stopping Muchuan and not restraining Yandong as the fight went on, probably because I was biased and Muchuan was really taking a beating. His mouth, which had been spewing curses, actually started to crack with a sob. You're calling me a bastard, you're the bastard, we were supposed to be best friends, and you do this to me. Do you have any idea how hard I worked to win her over? I chased her for a whole year. I spent tens of millions and still couldn't get her. I knelt in my father's study for 3 days and 3 nights, endured his discipline until my skin was torn and flesh laid open. Only then did he finally agree to let me decide my own marriage. He pointed at me with a pitiful look. That's what finally convinced her of my sincerity, sob, and she still wouldn't let me touch her. Said we should take it slow, sob, and now it's all fallen into your lap. Even though my parents thought she was just a book-smart nerd, useless to the family business, and didn't approve of me marrying her, but to marry a highly educated academic genius, a tall and beautiful female PhD in research. Do you have any idea how proud I was? Sob, I walked with my head held high in front of all my buddies. They were so envious of me. Marrying her was infinitely better than their arranged marriages with those rich girls who only care about shopping, beauty treatments, and cosmetic surgery. Sob, why are you trying to take her from me? Don't you still love the first love who dumped you? Go find her then. Stop trying to steal my girl, Yandong. Give her back to me. Give her back. Sobs. The fight was over. Muchuan had completely dissolved into a sobbing mess. He was just lying on the floor now, throwing a full-blown tantrum. Maybe I didn't know Muchuan as well as I thought. I truly never expected to see this side of him. Thinking back on that whole year he pursued me so passionately, it really did bring a lot of sunshine into my otherwise monotonous life in research, to be honest. I was genuinely moved by him most of the time. I don't think of the name Yandong anymore. I thought I had finally moved on from that distant first love. Perhaps I should cherish this second, fervent love in my life. If I let this one slip away too, I'll probably end up alone for the rest of my days. I don't love Muchuan, that rich young master, enough yet. Nor do I have the energy for a casual fling, but I am genuinely interested in giving it a try with him, the serious kind, with marriage as the goal. So, one day when he was waiting for me again at the entrance of my research institute after work, I asked him, with me, are you just looking for fun? You know how busy I am with research every day. I really don't have time for a casual fling, so if I say yes, would we get married? He probably misunderstood, thinking I wanted to marry him right away. After dropping me off at my place, he said to me with conviction, give me 3 days, and I'll give you a definitive answer. Wait for me. And so it came to pass that he knelt in his father's study for 3 days and 3 nights, enduring the family discipline, all to beg his father for permission to marry me. When he returned to me, his body was bruised all over from his father's beating, and his bones felt like they were coming apart from kneeling at home. He said to me with a smile, my parents have already agreed to our marriage. If you're willing, we can get married right away. Li Ruishi, I've already given up half my life for this. You can't turn me down again. Seeing him like that, how could I possibly bring myself to refuse? All I could do was nod in agreement. Jumping straight to marriage felt like things were moving way too fast, and it honestly made me a bit uneasy. So, when he first suggested staying over at my place, I turned him down. Later, when another opportunity came up, he asked if I could stay at his place instead, and I refused again. After that, he never brought it up again and just kept pushing for us to get married as soon as possible. It's fine, I'm in no hurry, we're getting married soon. Let's save that wonderful moment for our wedding night. Thinking about it just seems to excite him even more. That was, until his childhood sweetheart, Baiyoli, found out Muchuan and I were about to get married and came to make a scene. I just found out that he was already seeing Baiyoli before. He was the one who fell for someone else. He dumped his childhood sweetheart first, then came chasing after me without any restraint. I don't see a big problem with it. He fell in love with me, fell out of love with his childhood sweetheart, broke up with her first, and then came to pursue me so we could be together. That's the proper order of things. So I didn't pay much attention to his situation with Baiyoli, even though she still showed up around him quite often. When did things start to feel off? It was after he met my parents. After both sets of parents had formally met because their children were getting married. My parents are both ordinary factory workers. They don't have much formal education, and they've never really seen the wider world. In the face of the Mu family, a wealthy household with assets in the hundreds of millions, I inevitably seemed like a country bumpkin. Speaking timidly and hesitantly, my hands were so calloused that I didn't even dare to extend one for a handshake with my in-laws, even if I gave everything I had, bankrupting myself. I couldn't provide a single decent dowry for myself. I gradually noticed a change in Muchuan's attitude towards me. He used to be all subservient and eager to please, pulling out all the stops to win my favor, but before I knew it, his attitude had become haughty and superior. I didn't pay it much mind, Because I was no longer the person I was 7 years ago. I didn't feel I was unworthy of the Mu family's idle rich son, of course, as long as he truly loved me and was loyal to our relationship. And with the family's seemingly endless wealth, it was fine if he was a bit of a layabout. No one ever said that living requires you to strive for anything in particular, but when it comes to compatibility, I am a distinguished female PhD from a research institute, a highly educated academic achiever. I am destined to contribute to society and benefit the people, with a future that holds limitless potential. Why on earth would I be considered unworthy of a spoiled, illiterate rich kid who was born with a silver spoon, can barely recognize the alphabet, bought every diploma he owns, and spends his days squandering his family's fortune, who's really not good enough for whom? If he really thinks he's too good for me, then I think I'm too good for him. I thought he understood the balance of intellect and wealth between us. Little did I know, after seeing my very ordinary family background, he genuinely believed I was the one who married up. He thinks I hit the jackpot by meeting him. I should have been more submissive, tried harder to hold on to him, and win his favor. Instead, he started flirting again with that childhood sweetheart he never quite got over. Yandong's reappearance really threw me off balance. Before I could even try to make him see reason, our wedding day was suddenly upon us. On the eve of our wedding, his actions and his words made me see clearly that he wasn't worthy of me. He is not worthy of me. It also gave me the courage to try and reclaim what is distant, yet has never left the softest part of my heart. First love. 8. Watching Muchuan throwing a tantrum on the floor, Yandong didn't seem the least bit surprised. He probably understood Muchuan better than I did. They'd been inseparable since childhood, and that wasn't just an empty saying. Back then, Yandong and I were young and kept our relationship under wraps. He never introduced me to his friends or family up until he returned home recently. The three of us had been unaware of each other's existence and the complicated history between us. Back then, Yandong would always say to me, "Ruishi, just give me a little more time. My feelings for you are completely genuine. It's just that my family, I don't have a say in family matters yet. Please, give me some time, wait for me." Okay, I nodded earnestly. Okay, I trust him. A young man who, despite having only average diving skills, repeatedly risked his life diving into the deep sea to find all 108 rare pearls for me. That's the number of my birthday. He used those pearls to craft a set of exquisite, luxurious jewelry and presented it to me as my birthday gift. He is worthy of my complete and unwavering trust. I knew his family was well off, likely with some connections, but I had no idea their wealth was so extravagant and their influence so formidable. I was walking down the street when several men in black forcibly pulled me into a car, then brought me to a quiet private room. Inside sat a noble woman of extraordinary grace and presence. After stating her intentions, she slid a check for $1 million toward me. I was so ashamed, I didn't even have the courage to look up at her, but I would not accept the money, so I gently pushed it back. I caught a faint, wry chuckle from her. "You have quite the appetite for a young lady." Then, the 1 million check transformed into 10 million and was slid back in front of me. Her tone was soft, almost gentle. "If it's not enough, I can add more. For our family, this is just a month or two of pocket money. But you must break up with my son and leave his life for good. He has a fiancé, didn't he tell you? They'll marry as soon as he graduates. Her dowry is no less than 10 billion. What do you have?" In this moment, my entire understanding of life and all my values came crashing down. "Forget the figure in the billions. Just take this 10 million check she tossed my way as charity. It's an amount of money an ordinary person wouldn't see in several lifetimes, let alone earn." And my boyfriend, Yandong's mother, used it just like that to casually brush off her son's poor little secret girlfriend. My parents' combined monthly income is less than 10,000 yuan, and I'm just an ordinary girl from a family like that. Every number that came out of her mouth was terrifying. I felt like a toad eyeing a swan, Yandong being the swan. It's no longer a question of whether we love each other or not. The truth is, I'm simply not good enough for him. We're worlds apart, like heaven and earth, separated by an immense distance. A man must know his own limits. I fled in disgrace, agreeing to all her demands. I didn't even take the money. The amount truly terrified me at that moment. Later, Yandong didn't marry his so-called fiancé. For some reason, his family simply shipped him off abroad. They used their connections to bar his entry and prevent his return. That restriction lasted for a full 6 years. During that time, I studied like my life depended on it, preparing for the postgraduate entrance exam, then pursuing a combined master's and doctoral program. I couldn't allow myself to stop for a single second. I was so deeply insecure. To the very core of my being, I was just a lowly toad, yet I dared to fall hopelessly in love with the crown prince who lived in the celestial palace. I tried so hard, again and again, to make this little frog from the mud at least not look so ugly and repulsive. Then, as I grew older, matured in mind, and my education level kept rising. This gradually restored my confidence and made me realize one thing, whether it was facing Yandong, or later, Mu Chuan, I have no reason to feel inferior, nor should I ever think of myself as less than, because love is built on equality. He loves me and wants to be with me, forever. I love him and want to be with him, forever. That is all there is to it. If we encounter any obstacles along the way, we'll face them together. That's the best and most appropriate way to handle it. 9. Yandong rolled up his sleeves and gave Mu Chuan a couple of kicks in the rear. After all the effort you put into chasing her, why don't you cherish her? You were so proud when you finally won her over. So why don't you treasure her now? You're getting married tomorrow, and you still want to sneak off with your ex-girlfriend tonight. If your bride-to-be gets stolen away, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. Mu Chuan sat up from the floor, wiped away his tears, and retorted, was it on purpose? Yoli and I have been close since we were kids. How could I possibly have no feelings for her at all? I was just being stupid for a moment. I was drunk and out of my mind when I made that bullshit suggestion. Sobs. Yandong, even so, how could you try to steal your best friend's girl? Doesn't your conscience hurt at all? Let me tell you, from today on, we're through. I'll remember this grudge. It's you or me from now on. Yandong ran a hand through his disheveled hair and let out a sigh. It's you or me. Are you saying the Mu family is no longer interested in that multi-billion-dollar project in the South China Sea? You do realize I'm the one calling the shots on that project now, right? If I cut the Mu family out, that whole deal will go down the drain for you. With your father's explosive temper, do you think he'd be so furious he'd break both your legs? Mu Chuan clenched his fists tightly. Are you threatening me? Yandong said lightly. That's right, I'm threatening you. Do you yield or not? Mu Chuan was so furious he could only glare at Yandong, unable to utter a single word. Yandong reached out, pulled me into his embrace, and nudged Mu Chuan's knee with the tip of his shoe. If you yield, then call her sister-in-law. From now on, when you see her, be respectful and keep your distance, at least 10 paces away. Mu Chuan's eyes were bloodshot. He glared at Yandong, teeth clenched. For a full minute. Suddenly, he buried his head in his hands and burst into loud, wailing sobs once more. Should I try to comfort him? I twitched the corner of my mouth, at a complete loss for words, so he turned to Yandong for help. What should we do? Without a word, Yandong grabbed Mu Chuan by the ankles and started dragging him toward the door. Your sister-in-law and I just got our marriage certificate this morning. We're in the middle of our honeymoon phase, and you're hanging around like a third wheel. Get lost, go home, dismiss the guests, get the trending topic off the hot search list. Explain things properly to your parents, tell them I'll come by your house in a few days to apologize in person. Mu Chuan's wailing grew even more pitiful. Wah, you absolute monster, I'll never forgive you. You beast, you scumbag, you're just toying with your best friend like a marble. Why did I ever have to meet you? Mu Chuan was finally tossed out the front gate by Yandong. Stop your bawling. Just to set the record straight, I didn't steal your partner. You're the one who stole them from me and didn't even appreciate it. I'm just fed up, so I'm taking them back. Mu Chuan stood up and grumbled. What are you trying to say? Yandong took my hand. Let me introduce her to you properly. Li Ruishi, my first love. The reason I was stuck abroad for 6 years, unable to come home. The reason I drowned my sorrows in drink, got alcohol poisoning, and ended up in the hospital multiple times. The reason you came to see me overseas. I was afraid you'd go behind my back to bother her, afraid my mother would keep causing her trouble. That's why I never dared to mention that name to you. This person right here, Li Ruishi, is the only woman I, Yandong, have ever truly loved in my entire life, and now, she's my wife, so from now on, you'd better put away any thoughts you have about her. Don't even entertain the slightest improper idea. You know I'm the only son of the Yi family. I'll gradually take full control of everything. I truly don't want to wipe out my childhood best friend, to wipe out your entire Mu family, leave not a single soul standing. 5 years later it was the second birthday of little Honey, the daughter of Yandong and me. The birthday celebration was held at the Yi family ancestral home. Before the festivities began, her grandmother enveloped her in a loving embrace. Gazing at her with adoration, she placed upon her head a crown worth 200 million. Our Yi family's little princess was born to live a life of comfort and joy. Happy birthday, my precious sweetheart, Grandma loves you. Little Honey threw herself into her grandmother's arms. Thank you, Grandma, I love you too. A moment later, her grandmother glanced a few steps away, where Yandong was squatting on the ground, carefully and tenderly adjusting my shoes and socks. Her face fell, pulling out a property deed. She said to her sweetheart, I don't know what's come over me lately, but just the sight of water makes me dizzy. It's terribly bothersome. This overseas estate spans tens of Thousands of square meters, and would you believe it? Half of it is built over water features. It's been in my name all these years, but I really don't want it anymore. But your father loved diving and playing in the water so much. My precious little grandson, the young master of the E family, is sure to love it too. With a look of disdain, she shoved the property deed into little Honey's hands. Go on, take it, give this to your mother. Tell her to take your little brother out for a nice trip. The estate's location and setting were superb. It was said to have cost nearly 20 billion when purchased, making it the most valuable dowry her grandmother brought into the family. Her daughter Little Honey's childish voice piped up with a question. My little brother, where is he? Seeing my mother-in-law still putting on this act of being at odds with me, both Yandong and I couldn't help but smile wryly in resignation. He pulled Little Honey into his arms and gently booped her little nose. Then, he placed her tiny hand on my belly. Right here. Probably because I didn't take the 10 million she offered me 7 years ago, she started to see me in a different light, or perhaps it's because my status now is a far cry from what it used to be. I become a pillar of the state at the research institute. Moreover, in the second year of my marriage, I had already made quite significant contributions to society. Yandong's parents' opposition to our marriage wasn't as strong as we had anticipated. We are now gradually entering a phase of family harmony and happiness. The end. That's all for today's story.